Good evening, everybody. You're welcome to episode 7 of the Iarmhi Abu Podcast, where tonight we're going to look back on the round 2 of the hurling championships, and we'll also look forward to the first round of all the Shea Murtagh and Clark's sponsored football championships coming up over the weekend. Before we start, we'll give a shout out to our sponsors, Clark's Bar, where we are here tonight in Patrick Street, KC Sports, and then a big shout out to Sinead Sheds in Kilbeggan. We'll be out to see you very shortly. Doctor.ie, who has 15 walk-ins and online services nationwide. The Tyre Warrior Garage in the Pigeons and down near Athlone. You bring the wheels and we'll supply the tyres. And also Mick Mannion CRVT in the Blirey Industrial Estate in Athlone. So again, shout out to all our sponsors. Support them if you can. Tonight I'm joined to talk hurling by Damien Maher on my left hand side and Brendan Shaw beside him. And on my right, resident pundit also Pat O'Brien, and a new man. Don't know whether he's going to talk hurling or not, but he knows a bit about hurling, and he's going to talk about the football championship. Current Bunbrustle junior manager Danny McDermott.
Thank you very
Danny,
much.
you're very welcome.
Thank
first
you.
night in.
Thanks, sir.
Lads, we're going to look back on the round of hurling over the weekend. Again, the shout out again to Peter Collins and the CCC that they freed up the Sunday, and they're also doing the same this weekend coming with no football fixtures on, clashing with the All-Ireland finals on television. We might just work in reverse in these again, lads. We'll start with the intermediate championship. We started on the Thursday night with Clonkill and Raharney. Raharney 3-8, Clonkill 1-10. Brendan, you were probably at that one, were you?
Yeah. Kind of a slow start for Raharney, and Clonkill got into the game. And a few of the old stagers playing. I suppose they're they're down a few bodies, and they used, they had plenty of experience, like Alan McGrath and Niall Dowdle. Nipper was in the goals, and he could make a goalie of him. He did very well.
Right.
It was 1-6 to 1-3 at half time. Raharney were a bit sluggish, but up the tempo in the second half and the work rate, and Aaron Reedy scored 2 goals in the second half. And look, Raharney there was only 4 points into the end, but they were probably comfortable enough in the finish. And that's 2 wins from 2 now for Raharney, so they'll be happy enough with that. Clonkill have a win and a loss, so they're or do they?
They have a win.
They do, yeah. They beat Castletown, yeah. So I mean, there's still a lot to play for there for that intermediate championship. I was the one result that kind of surprised me. Even it was the Southern Gales Castletown game. I would have thought that there would have been a very weak team that the Castletown were fielding, and but Southern Gales, I'm not sure what's going on there. Like, they're better than that.
Yeah.
I know they're
121, 114 the favourite Castletown. A shout out also on this one before we go too deep into it to Tuberclare. I think we said last week, I think it's maybe the 3rd hurling game ever played in Tuberclare. So great credit to the club down there. Yeah. And as someone said to me, they all lines marked out on it together, the 65 metre lines marked out, which wouldn't be there under normal circumstances with a football pitch.
I'd say they were rubbed out fairly quick though for a lot of the diehards.
Get them over out.
But anyway, look at it. It was the pitch was actually bouncing, and it suited a young Castletown team, and the sun was on their back. If you go back, say 2 weeks before that, Castletown played Clonkill and a real dreary, wet evening. And it doesn't really suit them younger lads. So they actually played above themselves. They pinged the ball around very, very well. I'd say they caught Southern Gales on the hop. The Gales probably thought, well, Castletown have a lot of injuries and whatever, and they had a bad result against Clonkill. But they actually came out and they had a good training. I asked about the training session both with the seniors since that Clonkill game, and they were going quite well. Now a lot of them are young. Some of them are out with minor only last year. They had a few more, the likes of after being away, and a few more lads
experience
that just slotted in, and they quitted themselves very well. They hit the front and they stayed in front, and they were never in any danger of losing the game. But the Gales look at this and say, well, this is a game that they would have penciled in. Definitely they should have won.
2 points there,
and all of a sudden there's 2 rounds gone. We're only looking at what need to start getting their act together, as Brendan said, to find points rapidly on the board, because they still have, the likes of Churn and Cullen are still in this group, like they have to play them yet.
Yeah, and another team that...
Well, they have played Churn, but they have Cullen and Rahari second string are actually quite strong,
Another team that has 2 games played and no points got yet is Cullen. Churn 220, Cullen 116. On that one, yes or no? I know Churn are on a nice roll. They had a tight enough win over Southern Gales in the first game, but that's a big win there over one of the sole intermediate teams.
It is. Back to the wall situation now.
Yeah.
Two defeats, and they've only 3 more games to get there, and 6 points is not guaranteed either for a knockout position. So here they've a bit of work to do now. Churn, granted, are going very well, and I think they're the team for me. They look the very accomplished team in that intermediate championship this year, from what I've seen. And but look, Cullen, they just need to keep working at it there and try and get 3 results now, and it's not going to be easy for them.
Damien, I know you had some of the reports on the game. Yeah. Big score from Conor Heffernan.
Conor Heffernan got 110 there.
After scores.
Absolutely, and he's back, of course, this year with a bang, knocking on the door, as we know. They were in the final last year, so they're. You asked, is it a surprise? It's probably not a surprise overall, because they're very, very close. The surprise of the round is the defeat of Southern Gales and the fact that they haven't sparkled yet.
Yeah.
And they'll be very disappointed, and they'll be wondering what's going wrong. And suddenly the margin for error is,
it's gone.
It's certainly very tight at this stage.
It's gone for both them. To me, it's gone for both them and Cullen.
Yeah, and we were just chatting earlier too about, the glorious weather we've had in the last while, and how that kind of influences the speed and movement in games, and that probably suited. A young Castletown Gagan side, young Cassidy, they're scoring 1-7 from corner forward. That Churn have emerged, I think, after the first couple of rounds in the intermediate as the main contenders.
Yeah, but I still wouldn't. Churn done the very same last year. They hurled exceptionally well. They went through the whole process. They won all their games. They won the semi-final. At the end of the day, and I said it, Dalystown were in the same predicament as Cullen last year. They struggled to get off the ground. And I remember stating to yourself, Ray, all you need to do here is come in fourth. And if Cullen are looking at it at the moment and they're trying to gather up the wagon and regroup, they'll have to target Castletown and Clonkill. And if they can target those two, get in front of them and come in fourth, that's all they need to do. They will come stronger. They will improve, the likes of Jack Gillen is holding his own for them at the moment.
Like 9 points he got, I think, at the weekend as well.
That you have the Regans need to come. So I wouldn't unduly get totally worried, especially when there's 4 qualifying. It'd be different like the other 2 groups. You have only 3. 4 here. There's still, but they need 2 points very, very quickly. They need to get going, because confidence will start draining away. Very simple, if they don't find a win shortly.
Yeah, and the 2, I think Rahari seem to have more of an injury-free run at the minute. I'm looking from the outside, Brendan. I don't know what you're going to say, but both Cullen and Castletown, I think, have lost. Like you talk about Kieran O'Brien. Kieran came on in the game in the senior match, so he's going to be gone. Clonkill, I think, have used players off that intermediate team again this weekend.
They are the 2 that you have to target them 2 second strings. I don't think Rahari have lost anybody yet in 2 rounds. They haven't, and even with in-house whatever happens going on, they still didn't lose anybody, and they still probably won't lose anybody going forward for the next couple of games. They have a strong panel.
The injuries are clearing up.
So
and that's the whole thing with this.
Stated here that in the intermediate, like with 3 sole teams and 3 second string teams, the competition needs the 3 sole teams to make that semi-final. So I would think Rahari at the moment looked stronger of the other 3 second strings. So it all depends. Like what the way Cullen are approaching it or what their in-house, stability is. But the
that is the bottom line with it. But at the minute, it's they've work to do. The two intermediate teams have work to do to get back in among them. Senior B results. Castlepollard 316, Ringtown 114, and Oliver Plunkett's 18 points, Crookedwood 16 points. Now, we'll start with the middle game. It was live on Iarmhi TV, which was Pollard and Ringtown. Now, in the end, there was only 8 points between the sides, but looking at that game, I felt there was a bigger gulf between the two teams than 8 points.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Pollard were in total control. They were in, Ringtown's goal came at the day. They actually missed the penalty, I think, was it just before it, and they got a chance from a 21-yard free or something, and they scored. But Pollard were in total control. They seemed to be well organised. Dara McCormack comes back from number 11 back to centre back. He didn't have the same amount of freedom, but he was able to dominate because he has that quality about him, that his vision is terrific as regards passing the ball in. There was one stage I was looking at and I was saying, Lord, if Dara McCormack had another Dara McCormack inside, the ball that he passes in, because he gives that perfect ball. I'd often hear good forwards saying, this is the way I want the ball sent in. This is how you should be sending it in. But that good forward needs to be out. It's frustrating at times for these good forwards, but he's given that ball to lads inside that he's saying, here, go ahead, use it. And they were using it. This other guy in the middle of the field, Tierney, he's absolutely a revelation at the moment. He's after having his second outstanding game for Pollard. And he's good on the frees, he's good on plays, very energetic. And they have plenty of players all through. The likes of Higgins inside is good, even. He's cute, he knows what to do, and at the moment they look a step above everyone else.
And going back down in Devine, probably scored the goal of the weekend anyway, where David Higgins ripped it in the air, roof of the net, goalkeeper.
I know he's a talented player down through the years, and this competition suits him more so than say senior last year or whatever. He probably has extra little second or two to make up his mind on what he's doing. Another person, I'm sure he won't mind us saying he's in the twilight of his career at this stage. He's given
huge you don't want to comment on that? No. Okay, we'll keep going.
He's given terrific service.
Yeah, he has. To Westmeath and Castle.
The Ringtown will be disappointed because they put up a very, very commendable performance the day before against Brownstown, and I'd say they were coming into this game expecting, to perform a lot better, but they were never in the hunt. They were.
They did an injury to Charles Flynn as well. He would have been a loss to them as well. He didn't get settling into the game at all. He don't know what happened, but he went off, looked like in a bit of distress. So hopefully nothing too serious there. Bridges and Brownstown, anyone get to it? I wasn't at it now either, but I believe now that, obviously with a scoreline that they were level at half time, very little between them the whole way through it. I think talking to one of the Bridge lads there last night, just maybe a couple of opportunities. Mikey Mullen missed a couple of frees that you would normally put down to him, and even just from the outside looking in, after the beating that they got from the Wood in the opening game, I'd say that he was looking at least for a performance.
Yeah, well, I'd say he got a credible performance. I'm talking to a few of the old stalwarts from Dalystown at the match on Cusick Park the other night. They were saying when they look back on this, it's a game they'll regret from them. They definitely deserved a point, they said, but they had the ability, they had the chances to win it.
That's right.
Paddy probably was a little disappointed with one of the goals that got in, he's a top class goalkeeper with just one got in on him, but Mickey missed a few frees that was there, and they had a goal chance near the end, and just small margins it kind of went against them, and it's a tight affair. You look at 15-14, it was a ding dong. It also I haven't seen Brownstown in the flesh yet, and the way Ringtown played last week and ran Brownstown so tight the week before, I'm getting to wonder, are Brownstown as good as what we thought they were going to be, So we don't know, but Dalystown definitely, they hurled well, just unfortunately they got nothing out of it. And I know they'll look back in this game if it gets into a tight dogfight at the finish and say, there's one we could have got.
Yeah, because they're going into the last 3 games having to play Plunkett's, Castle Pollard and Ringtown.
Yeah.
So again, if you're talking about some of the teams in the intermediate championships running out, Last Chance Saloon, St. Bridget's will be the same. Like they'll. But look at after their defeat against Crooked Wood, and the Wood turned around and run Oliver Plunkett's to 2 points, 18-16. So, like you said.
Yeah, well, look at Pollard at the moment seems to be a step above, you know, and then we're looking at Plunkett's, basing them on last year's performances, the fact that there's so much coming through and 18's coming through, they didn't perform as well as we thought they would in the first round against Pollard. They played obviously better this time to get over the Wood. Now, by all accounts, the Wood had their chances also.
Yeah, it was at the game, Pat.
Two frees got away.
Very, very tight game,
you know,
all through. You know, the Wood battled, and even though Oliver Plunkett scored 18 points, they were relying on Paddy Lynham.
Paddy Lynham, I heard, was
the main man, and they're struggling up front, and the lack of bit of cohesion. They're carrying the ball forward, but they're just, this last ball is going astray, and they just need to work on that. Now there's a crucial game coming up with them, with Oliver Plunkett's and Crooked Wood, like that. Whenever that happens, sorry.
Oliver Plunkett's and Brownstown.
Oliver Plunkett's and Brownstown. That's a key game, but Oliver Plunkett's haven't hit the highs that they hit last year. Definitely, they're struggling a bit, and like the Wood almost nicked the game at the end. And Brian McLaughlin was on the charge towards the goal.
Using all his experience.
And you know, it was a last
crucial save.
It was a crucial save, and it was the saving of the game for Oliver Plunkett's. Like, they were hanging on at the end, really.
Offhand, can you remember, or have Oliver Plunkett's blooded many of their young ones? Because that, if you're coming into adult hurling for the first time, there's a game that's going to test your mettle fairly quickly. Against a season.
Corey Casey would be doing.
Podge Casey, he played, and the guy that he was on the schools team this year. He was centre back. I can't think of his name now. He was wing back, and he played well. Just the name escapes me now, but. You know, they're still haven't got the right.
Just the balance.
The balance. Their backline was just, there's breaking down up front for them. And Paddy Lynham was playing in the middle of the field, and now he scored some lovely scores. And you can see the bit of, you know, experience that he has and quality. And he scored some really good points. But Oliver Plunkett's are going to need another forward, a free scoring forward. I think if they're going to, they play Brownstown now. I think that could be a real decider, in that group. Yeah,
because again, Brownstown with 4 points. You know, if they can get a win on that one, gives them certainly pole position for the top. And like, two, anyway.
You know, this Senior B every year, it always gives. To me, it's one of the best competitions in the county. It's so unpredictable, and it changes round and round. And the head-to-heads results are vital then for the determination of the top 3 teams.
Yeah, but the likes of Donnock and Maguire, they're just checking out the team sheet. Donnock Maguire played, Adam Buckley and Shane Ormsby. They all played. They are bringing through these young talented players.
Hayes guy, is he there?
Had they Hayes guy, I'm not certain that they did, but they have plenty of experience too when you look through it, like the likes of Aaron Craig and that, to drive them on. So they will improve now. They'll have to. I'd say the team that's happy after the first couple of rounds, probably in the Senior B, is Brownstown, and where they've picked up. And it's incredible, you know, when you think back against Ringtown. I was at that game, and Ringtown were well in control in that match early on. 7 points to the good, and suddenly it turned. Were they lacking a bit of sharpness, a bit of fitness? I'm not sure, but Brownstown got a run on them, got on top of them, won the game, and now Ringtown have subsequently lost to their neighbours. But they've lost that. So from a position where they were in things were looking so good for them, they're now facing a real challenge, I think, in Senior B.
Yeah, they are indeed. 3 games in the Senior A Championship. Loughlin Gales 319, Father Dalton's 19 points. Castletowngeoghegan 125, Clonkill 217, and Raharney 424, Delvin 12 points. Now I'm going to start with the second game that I mentioned there. That's covered it on Iarmhi TV. It was on commentary, and it was played like a proper championship game. That there was a lot dependent on it. I think that's Clonkill pushed Castletown right to the end. Like they led, I think, at one stage in the first half, won 6-2 points.
Yeah.
There were 5 up, I think, maybe during the second half, and missed a goal opportunity that maybe would have sealed the game for them. But Castletown showed county champions. And they came back from, I think they scored 1-7 or 1-6 without reply.
Yeah, no, look, from a neutral point of view, it was very good.
Yeah.
Great entertainment, because once Clonkill hit the ground running and went in front, well, you always expected Castletown were going to have to throw some fight, and what way the game was going to finish at for long periods, it was tit for tat. Clonkill got off to a good start. Castletown seemed to be asleep for a long time early on, and young Keane Loughlin was on top of his game, and he showed great prospect, and he was not just hitting good frees, he was winning the ball, he's taking his scores, but he showed a bit of cuteness. He scored a goal from an unexpected free. The Castletown were put it away very, very well. So they were, as you say, they were 1-7 to 2 points up, 15 minutes gone. Now they had whatever little bit of a breeze was in it, and it always does help. A breeze does help. But Castletown reeled off, I think, 8 points in a row just before half time. The 10 minutes before half time, Castletown kind of took over.
Probably fair to say, Pat, in that game, the 10 minutes before half time, They really showed their quality. They played well there at that stage. So at half time they led for the first time 12-1-8. Yeah.
And they went 2 points up. I think Castletown went 3 points up then. The work rate was immense. They were really good.
Yeah.
Niall Mitchell was good in the air. He was a threat early on. Castletown kind of dealt with it then later on in the game. That catching power wasn't just there as it was earlier on, but they worked really hard. They clawed it back, and Keane got a great goal. He took on his man and went to the side, and he buried it in the other corner. Good saves. He put his body on the line. So Clonkill looked. I was saying, well, of course, we also had the scenario that we had a power outage or something in the Cusick Park, because there was no scoreboard from the people who were in the stands. They're out in the hill, and basically nobody really knew what time was going on or what the score was, but some of us were keeping scores as we normally would do, and a lot of people were just kind of clued in. But as regards timing, we had no idea.
No idea, yeah.
It would nothing, because the application couldn't tell us, and nobody could know. So I just checked with some of the players were asking the ref at stages what time was in it and what time was in it.
Yeah.
But anyway, at halfway during it, I think on normal time left, and Clonkill were 5 up.
Yeah.
But Castletown did reel off 1-6 in that last 10 minutes.
A stat from that game: Johnny Birmingham started wearing number 7. Every
Now they did chip in, all through. Now they had a few wasteful ones also, but I suppose both teams, Castletown were. We all know, they lost 2 more players from the last year, but Clonkill lost players also. Padder was missing, Luke was missing, Geordie was missing. There seems to be a crisis at the moment, whether it's the good weather, the hard ground, or whatever's wrong. A lot of teams are down a lot of serious players, So it was good entertainment. I personally was a bit fearful for Castletown going down the stretch, because I thought Clonkill had the bit between their teeth and they were going well, and a few incidents maybe that they might felt a little bit aggrieved by kind of went against. Castletown didn't panic. They kept doing the same thing.
I think that's what the experience
showed. A few balls went in around the square, and the danger men, the likes of Niall and Varley, were strong under the ball, and they got a few crucial scores. Penalty anyway.
Yeah.
It ended up they got the goal. So
anyway,
once they got close like that, you knew that they were able to.
Yeah,
you know,
Dylan Corrigan stepping. He
Yeah.
got 2 points in the last couple of minutes. Varley, 2 off his left hand as well. But I tell you, I'm going to mention one player, and you know we look at him and you know you think, well, I'll handle this lad every time you come out to see him. That's Jack Gallagher. But I thought he was absolutely outstanding for Castleton on Saturday evening. He really,
well, yeah,
you know,
he was
he's
on a
small
lot
in
of ball.
stature, but
You know,
he created problems
Yeah.
all over the place. He was showing off. He's a great relationship with Niall inside, but you know, I thought he led by example very much when they were struggling to get possession up front. He was very much to the fore in it, and in that game, Pat, as well, you might remember Jack Murphy made an absolute miraculous save on the goal line. I think he got it with his foot and he put it across the front of the goals.
Yeah.
And now that at the time the Clonkill were dominating it.
Yeah, no, they were hard stopping in the Castletown square. That Clonkill, I'll say, how do we not get that over the line? You know, Sean Jackson put his body in the line and late in the second half also. Like, you know, there was, look at, you get little breaks. It would have lifted the spirits higher in Clonkill at the time, and maybe Castletown would have found it more difficult to get back. But both teams knew the scenario going into the game. They both knew that this was a do or die.
Yeah.
They had to really fight for this, you know, because
And Clonkill now, after losing that one, know now that they're down on a head-to-head against Raharney. They're down now on a head-to-head against Clonkill, and they're big. As I was talking to Darragh Egerton for a couple of minutes after the game, and he was saying, like, we need to beat the Gales, but we also need Castleton to beat them, and we need, you know, so they're kind of caught a little ball now. But on Darragh, it was good to see him back. He seems to come back to a bit of form. But I was also delighted with the other number 11, with the number 11, Niall Mitchell. I thought really so close to where or what we'd expect from him.
Yeah, no, he's a huge threat in the air. Like, I mean, Johnny Birmingham would be a good seasoned hurler, and I think the first 2 or 3 balls he caught them clean over Johnny. Like, you know, Castletown got to grips with that later on in the game, but Niall, you know, he got a couple of good scores. You know, he provides, you know, the out ball. You know, his energy sometimes is questioned as regards, you know, does he not drive on? But he seemed to be, there was a pep in his step.
Yeah, I thought so. I think if of Niall Mitchell, and like, you know, who the hell am I to criticise any inter-county hurler, but I think if Niall had a little bit more ruthlessness in his game,
yeah, he's just that little. He needs that little bit more.
He laid off the ball. He was going. You know, you said to yourself, you know, Niall keep going and shorten the stick, or maybe stick a boot to it, and you know, that little bit from now. It's, as I said, don't take a criticism from me. It's just an observation. I thought, looking at him, that the man could end up some games with a big tally. I think if he was maybe a little more, I don't know, selfish the right word, maybe more ruthless in there.
Yeah, well, I suppose.
Before we leave that one, Pat, just one. I know you mentioned already. Keane Loughlin 2-9.
Yeah, no, that
freeze play.
Yeah.
65s sideline ball, I think as well, or close to one,
but. You know, he was out to the ball first, and you know, he kind of relies a little bit more on his left hand side, but he was obviously clever enough to, you know, to make that extra space. I was very impressed with his second goal. Like, you know, he made room and he put it away. Like, Sean Jackson is a good goalie and he's playing well, but he put it away low in the far corner that, you know, he didn't get a chance to get at it. And you know, he ended up, I think, with 2-9.
2-9 a minute,
you know, I have down here anyway.
Yeah,
you know, he got 6 the week before that, you know. And there are 2 games, you know, he's out there playing the 2 strong teams, Raharney and Castletown. He'll benefit from that and he'll learn from that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so, you know, I think they call him tricky or something, but he doesn't, he uses it.
He is.
You know, so no, he's a nice talent. It's good to see it.
Yeah, for young lad, and you know, he is Loughlin, and he's building fight on him, and a spoke about him, and you know, he was involved with a little bit off the ball. Raharney 424, Delvin 12 points. I presume this is one-sided as
yeah, very much so. Raharney were in control from start to finish. Look, it was 114 to 3 points to Raharney at half time. Raharney dominated every sector of the field. The pitch in the downs is quite tight. You know, there was a lot of wides as well, but very difficult to judge where you're at playing. You know, winning that margin. It's you know, Devon Hill showed well in the game. He's maybe not a finisher, but he certainly dominates the physical man to lay off the ball. He played very well. Owen Keys was his usual solid, and like Delvin really lacked any threat up front at all.
Any shining there, a bit of.
Dara Clinton played well. He tried hard, but it was like Raharney were set up very, to screen. But overall, it was a disappointing game, and like a very poor crowd at it as well. It was, I'd say most people went to Cusack Park instead. The neutrals at Cusack Park, and by all accounts, it was a much better spectacle than the Downs. So look, it's two wins for Raharney. I'd say that they're still not sure where they're at. There's a bit of the working out to be done still, but look, you can only 2 wins from 2 and on to the next round now.
You can only beat who's in front of you.
Exactly, yeah.
Damien, you coming in there on that?
Well, pity for Delvin, really, coming up to some of the players that they had last year. Always going to be a massive test, of course. You're coming in to face the established senior teams, right up there. And, Castle Dungagan also shown there. Like, you look at the quality there, to score 1-6 late on and finish that match for Castle Dungagan. That just shows the kind of level they've reached over the last number of years, and how winning is a good habit, and how it brings on other younger players as well. But real pity for Delvin that they're not at full strength. They would have liked to have really tested Raharney more. Eamon, he's just one of the guys that's sticking out, and you can see, Johnny Greville's back, and his influence. They're a tight knit group. Be hard to beat, I think, as this championship progresses.
It's just on the Delvin end of the scenario there. She must be very disappointed with the defence. They've conceded 10, 15. It's a huge amount in a senior championship. 2 games. It's pitiful in one sense. I know they're missing Adam or Dean up front, and possibly a few other lads, and a few lads that pulled away from last year. But
and then it's the psychological thing as well when these.
It's not going
bigger,
to be
more established teams going to run on you.
The next Tuesday night is very hard to get going again. And realistically, I suppose you're looking at, after 2 rounds, you're looking at the Delvin Father Dalton's game. But Father Dalton's are also looking at. It's a tough learning process for Delvin at the moment.
Well, I seen a manager yesterday as a result of a game said we were learning in the fire. And I think poor Delvin are a little bit the same. They're learning in the fire now with down bodies and whatever else, and it's a tough place to be for both management and for players as well. Loughlin Gales 319, Dalton's 19 points. Anyone from?
I don't. Well, this actually was a decent game too, with it a bit for Collinstown, because Father Dawson's gave as good as they got. They stayed in this game for a long time, with 10 minutes to go, they were only 2 down, and Derek got a good ball, and typical Derek, he found the net.
Right.
And the Gales finished it strong then, but Father Dawson's were they hurled well. They hurled a lot better. There was more heart in them and spirit in them than it was against the first game.
It wasn't at the game, but I was talking to a few people that were, and Jack Carney had an excellent game in the middle of the field, and Owen McCabe up front.
He hurled well,
and they're not the whipping boys that they were. Not by any count. They've shown now that they're really, a well drilled team. 19.
I know Collinstown, you have to look at it, was the first time that they did run into a few injuries. Dan Higgins was missing, and so was Shane Williams. They were 2 very strong players to be missing on that.
That's one thing about the Gales, I suppose. They've been so settled over the last number of years. You can always pick 13 of their players.
Absolutely.
In or out, you start or you sober, you're brought on, you're taken off, whatever, that kind of way.
But it's very noticeable this year what they're doing to have kind of rejigged it a bit. To have David Williams now in the square, like, and he's a handful for anyone. He finished up with 1-5 the last day there, and like the first day he had 2-11, you know. So like, I mean, Jogger seems to be, he's playing 7 by sweeping around the opposite end of the field where he was last year, and more, I would feel he's more customised to that. And all my time the Jogger was this end of the field,
defender, yeah.
You know, he was a pinnacle. So Collinstown, it was a good challenge that I'd say possibly. It's hard to know. Some of these teams come in expecting to win. When you're expecting to win, you don't just reach a management wants you to reach.
Yeah, well,
you know,
Joey, looking at them, they've played probably on paper the 2 easiest games. So they now have to face in, I don't know what way the draw is.
I think they're playing Castletown the next
one. For his team then anyway.
You know.
And that'll be it. That'll be the acid test. Like you'll have a good idea. Both teams will have a.
Well, Castletown will have to work on what they have, but learn from it too. Like, you know, but they'll know. You know.
But I think like the Gaels will be looking at that game to see like this is a benchmark now. We can see where we're at.
Yeah.
And that'll be a big game now.
Yeah, that's the one thing in that senior championship with only the 3 coming through out of it. You know, no more than what the way the football has gone, but it certainly means that heads now and all these results are so crucial. And you know, the other one, of course, Father Dalton's, we're probably looking at their game against Elvin as what will be the relegation game, and it'll be, you know, try and keep confidence high enough. But I wouldn't rule out Father Dalton's taking the scalp yet before this game. This championship is out.
You did predict last week that we could, after 2 rounds, have division, if you understand. And we have it. We have Castletown, Harney and the Gaels all on 4 points, and the other 3 teams are on 0 points.
Right, yeah.
You know, so it's not hard. You know, if they were a little bit, you know, you had, I suppose, Delvin and Father Dalton's came up against the strong teams early on. You know, but that's the way it is. Like, you know, but for hurling's sake, you wouldn't like it to continue that way.
No,
you know.
no, we need more games like what we've seen in Cusick Park on Saturday evening would be good for this championship. Just before I leave the hurling, we will be going to a break short. We'll be back with football. Under 20 hurling championship draws made last week, and a new sponsor in this, Damien Moore and Signs in Ringtown. So good to see there as well.
Yeah, so I think in the hurling, in Division One, the 6 teams, 3 teams per section, with 2 teams coming out. So, look, there's not many games in it, but it is the most difficult championship to run and where to fit. Those are always, you know, given out that this is a forgotten kind of a championship. But when Peter Collins looks at the calendar and he's trying to figure out where am I in. You know, I've been there. I know what he's looking at, and it's easy to say, we'll put. But you have lots of these lads now. Like, just for example, we mentioned him earlier, Keane Loughlin.
Yeah.
Like, can you expect him to play on a Sunday and play again on a Tuesday? Like, that's very difficult. I think they missed an opportunity to start the under-20 championship in late June, and I think that was the time to start it. Get a couple of rounds of it in. And same with the football, by the way.
Yeah.
Like in July for a football championship starting, there's 3 or 4 weeks there where we could have got under 20 football. We could have got it to a knockout. That overlap then and clash where you have managers don't want they want the good under 20 with the adult team, and you know, so it is a very difficult competition to squeeze into the calendar year, the way we're structured with the 15 weeks to complete the football and hurling championships.
Well, we're on under 20s. We're looking for a new under 20 hurling and football manager. Now we'll talk a little bit about under 20 football, and they have a new sponsor in that competition as well, Moran's coaches. So no relation, but 2 Morans taking off that. But going back to the under 20 hurling manager, Jody Murray has done 2 years at it, and he has been relieved of his duties. And we As further, is it going to be? I know I heard some talk that it might come in under the senior management. Any thoughts on that, Pat? From the minors this year
Well, I don't know. I haven't been anywhere close to the present, say, under 20s this year or last year. I don't know. Jody had them himself and Barry and that, and by all accounts, they were relieved of their duty, and whatever. So the hierarchy must have something in the pipeline.
I think it's a vital appointment myself, because if you look at the senior team this year, there's nothing ready-made coming through from under 20. So I think it's really crucial that there is a good manager, and likewise in football, because that's the stepping stone. They're the building blocks for your senior team, and you need even if you're only getting 2 or 3 of them through per year, it just keeps that. It keeps the thing fresh as well.
Well, especially Brendan, when you're looking at the guys, the 18-year-olds who aren't playing county minor, and they're coming in and getting that strength and conditioning program and everything like that work in place. It's a vital cog in the future development.
Absolutely, I completely agree with you, and so I think that's in both codes. It's a crucial appointment for the county.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the football said, but I know there was certainly no overlap. There was no under 20 hurler on the senior.
Remember Adrian said last week that there was nobody.
Was there one?
And Dara Smith from Turin on the senior team. He was towards the end. He was making the case for it, but he was the only one that overlapped on the 2 panels.
Yeah, not fair to say. I think not a great sign. You'd like to be.
No, you'd like to be if you look back on the say a number of years ago, where when Joe Fortune was manager, I know there were an exceptional group. You had Peter Clark and David Riley and Murphy, and they were overlapping. And it can be done provided the cooperation exists between the senior and the under 20 manager. And they establish themselves on that senior team.
Yeah, well, I think Danny's point is very, very important. That the 18-year-old can't. He can't play adult. So he's left in limbo for 12 months there, and it's important that he's looked after.
Sorry, Pat. That age of 18, so it's where they're not getting exposed to any real high level competition except club football, or club hurling as the case may be. And I know that the county board tried an under 19 kind of county panel this year for the footballers, but that just didn't really take off either, because there's no real competition associated with it. So again, it's
there's a cost element.
Absolutely,
let's be honest about it.
That's what I was looking at to say. This year's minors and last year's minors, going forward, there's too much of a gap between, say, that they need to be kept together. They need to go on an S&C program. We need to find an under 19, even if it's only games, but put some kind of a panel together for under 19 to give them that opportunity when it comes to under 20, because we have a nucleus of decent players now at the minute at 18s. This year, say the under 17s this year and last year's under 17, which are younger lads coming again at, say, the under 16. But they need to be nurtured together. They need to be on programs. They need to be looked after. They need to be. And I did state that we need to get an outside management with Westmeath people involved. Somebody that likes of what Offaly done with Leo O'Connor. Someone even the likes of Michael Fennelly. Some of these people that have been there know what it's like, with the guidance, and then you have your Westmeath people in with them. Because if we don't, we're going to miss that opportunity. At the moment, our senior team is, it's in transition.
Yeah.
That are capable of coming, but they need a lot of guidance. They need a lot of coaching. They need a lot of looking after.
Well, I think overall though, Pat, the board need to look at the structure and have a plan to transition players from county minor level to senior. At the moment, a minor player finishes in May and so does an under 20. He goes back to his club. Is he doing any S&C? Is he doing any getting any support? And I think that's lacking, and that needs to be in place. Like Mark McHugh or Kevin O'Brien is going to come next panel based on the game and the club championship, the championships. But if there were a panel, a group of players in a program, he could say, well, I'll keep an eye, I'll focus on these guys now and look at these and see what they're going to for the championship. I think we need something like that.
Well, and like if you look at it from from a player development point of view, like you could have a very strong of his age group and no competition whatsoever. Next minute he comes up the following year up to senior, and it's a massive culture shock for him because he's coming up against men. So there's a massive gap there in terms of that player developmental, and obviously it's a bit of a bugbear for mine coming from a small country club that you might have a good 18-year-old man really who can play and whatever, he's just not eligible to play, and next minute you're trying to scratch the bottom of the barrel for lads coming through. And
the other thing as well, like if you say to a guy at 18, okay, what do you want to do to be? It's about mindset. A lot of the like playing at inter-county level it's a lifestyle, it's mindset. You need to get guys tuned into that at 18 years of age and say, this is what you need to do, the steps you need to go to get to that point. And that's, you need to focus on those elite players and put them in that environment.
And Brendan, if you've the likes of, say for instance, a young lad in Clonkill, training with the likes of Dara Egerton and watch what he's actually gone through to come back from his injury and the work rate that these guys put in at senior level, it's a really, it's an education piece for them. Do from a personal developmental point of view, they're losing a valuable year at that late 17, 18 point where they could be falling through a gap if they're not potentially strong enough to make an under 20 panel, and then next minute they're whatever, and the structure of the club may or may not be there, but again they're losing out in a valuable year.
Look, it's something we might come back on again later on in the year. Lads, thank you very much for the hurling insight. We're going to take an ad break here now to look at all things football championship. We're bringing in Alan Mangan to join us on the panel here as well. So back in a couple of minutes. That's where we're going to look forward to. I think it's probably the most eagerly anticipated championship in years, probably in 22 years or whatever it is since we last won a Leinster championship, because the whole county, I think it's fair to say, has been on a huge high with regards to the senior football team and the journey we went on with Mark McHugh and that team. And that team consists of players both from senior and intermediate. So, I mean, there's a huge interest in both those championships. Alan Mangan has joined us here today, but Danny McDermott, I'm going to start with you, Danny, because just a quick word, you're gone into management, I believe, for your sins.
Yeah, I'm managing the Bunbrusna lads this year, so I went in at the tail end last year and gave them a handout and went into it. But look, I've been involved with teams really for the last 10 years, Ray, so just in and out. So I said I'd give the big role a go this year and see whether I could, emulate a hero like Alan, who's done well, But no, it's my first job doing a management job, but I've been selecting and coaching and all that kind of stuff for years. So it's interesting.
Without giving anything away, how's it been going for you?
Oh, it's going great. Look, they're a great bunch of lads, and I don't mean that. And one of them was my groomsman at my wedding, and many others I soldier with Innie Gales back in the day and all that kind of stuff, So, but no, great there. Look, but again, as the point I made just before the break, in terms of trying to get them younger players in for clubs like Bunbrusna, Castledown, Finay, Kuwait Hall. If you have a good 18-year-old and whatever, you're just there sitting looking at him and he can't play, it's very, very frustrating, whatever, for a club to keep it going. But to be fair, there's lads out in Bunbrusna and they've been soldiering for, I'd nearly say, I don't want to say 30 years, but it's in around that, it's
longer than they probably should have had.
Well, no, look at, and they're great men for keeping going, and and fair play to them, 100%.
Come here, you're starting off Junior 1, I know Junior 2, we don't know a whole pile about them. We'll go through the fixtures that are coming up. A lot of these games I think are on Monday as well, but a couple of them on Saturday, Junior 2. Ballycomoyle and Loughnane Valley is on the Saturday in Ballycarrigy at 5:30. The other game in that Junior 2 is Delvin and Rosemount, and that's in Section A. Section B, Mullingar Shamrocks against Colliery. That's on the Friday. Terrace get a bye, and St Mary's and Garrycastle. It's on the Monday, I think, as well. A lot of these second string teams, we won't know a whole pile about them until we see what they have. We don't know who's out there, but just a quick one on Loughnane Valley, Ballycomoyle. Loughnane Valley won promoter of Division 6, got a bit of a tonkin in the league final, but I'm sure they'll be ready to have a go at this championship again.
Yeah, no, we played them actually in Division 7 this year in the league, and they came together. It's great. A lot of lads, not a lot of lads, but a few lads coming out from town who weren't able to get involved in town team, and they're encouraging to come out and play football, which is fantastic. So they're doing a huge amount getting out there. Ballycomoyle, again, a neighbour of mine at home. They've struggled over the last years, but they've a good man over them this year, and trying to get them back going again with the likes of Northwest Media clubs out there. The hurling factor is a big issue. It's a big thing, and especially a lot of the lads there. A lot of them are playing with the Gaels, so they're obviously shoulder to the wheel from that point of view. Yeah. So, but a lot of good work happening out there. Yeah,
as I said, the other games there as well in Junior 2, Junior 1, Section A. Now I want to ask you something about this, and I'll throw it to the panel, the whole lot of you. Ballycarrigy and Kilbeggan is on Friday, 7:30 in Ballymore. Mullingar Shamrocks versus Brustin Multi, Monday at 7:30. And on Saturday, St Joseph versus St Paul's in Ballycarrigy at 7:15 on the Saturday. This group originally had 5 teams in it, and the 5 junior teams in that group voted to bring up a 6th team. So now instead of 4 qualifying from 5, 4 qualify from 6. Does it make sense to you? Is it better to have no bye, that everyone plays every round, than you probably drawing the short straw on the first one where you're going to get Mullingar Shamrocks?
Yeah, look at it. It's a difficult draw for us getting Shamrocks, because again they're on a crest of a wave at all age groups there, and they're coming through, and lots of young players coming through. But look at it is what it is. We have to just get on with it. I'd rather have the 5 teams, the juniors personally, but that's not my decision, because look at I'm coming from a country club, and to see all them country clubs coming together, they'd all like to have a shot at it. But it's a tight group. It's a lot of Kilbeggan coming down, Kilbeggan very unlucky to get relegated last year on a penalty shootout from intermediate. St. Joseph's going again, 2 years losing the county final, very hard. But again, they've won a Division 4 this year, so again they're picking themselves, building back up well, like, you know. So, and then obviously and Ballinaccarrigy, a lot of good young underage people coming through with the Bunbrusna lads within East Shamrocks. So, you know, they're doing a lot of good stuff out there as well. So they're starting to bring younger lads through too.
Now I know, Damien, you're close to the Ballinaccarrigy management switch. Not always a great sign to see in the lead up to a championship where there's a new management, but no better man than Anthony Maher to come in and steady the ship there.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course, he led them to a junior title not that many years ago. So I think if anyone can get them grounded again and get them focused, Anthony has a good chance of doing it. You know, it's gas. The 5 teams as opposed to the 6. The irony here is that the junior clubs actually looked for this change. They wanted the 6 teams in that group with the 4 coming out and 2 losing out. Probably on balance and on looking forward and forward thinking and improving and raising standards, it's probably the way to go, and measure yourself against another team coming up like Mullingar Shamrocks this year. They'll be strong. I would imagine Mullingar Shamrocks are going to be strong in that Junior 1, and the likes of Ballinaccarrigy and Bunbrusna, they're facing a battle here. Like, it's Kilbeggan Shamrocks in round 1 is a huge game for Ballinaccarrigy, and if they're not with it, and if they're not focused, if they're not fully fit, and if preparation hasn't been good, it's going to be a tough evening, because Kilbeggan had a couple of years up intermediate level, very, very unlucky last year. They're going to be a tough nut to crack, I think, in that group.
I like the look of some of these matchups we're going to get later on in the championship, but particularly St. Joseph's and Kilbeggan.
Yeah.
Should be a tasty one.
Potential junior finals.
Yeah, I'm not going to say much about St. Joseph's and Kilbeggan.
You'll have lads hurling as well from both clubs. So
that vote that went in, was it just a unanimous vote, or did everybody vote to? Because it doesn't sound like Bunbrusna voted to bring the 6 team up.
They pushed. I think originally, Alan, it was a group of 7 and a group of 5, and then they had to change it. Then
it just seems unfair to the sole junior clubs that probably, like Mullingar Shamrocks, to their credit, are the only team in the county that are competing in 3 championships.
Yeah,
they're competing in senior, junior 1 and junior 2. So that means, on paper, they probably have the strongest second team out there,
and probably would have qualified as one of the 4 if they had remained in Section B.
I'd say without the
semi-finalists last year.
I'd say they probably topped that group. So it's even though if the junior clubs voted for it, obviously it's you reap what you sow, is not what to say. So, but it just seems a little bit, they're unlucky more than anything else, Bunbrusna, to be playing them in the first round, because I'd say if you played them in the last round, they would probably lose 4 or 5 extra players than they will when they're playing yourself.
Yeah, I guess the important thing from a county board point of view is just the scheduling of these fixtures, in terms of every junior club would like to have the senior club playing first, so whatever. So just in case, in
fairness, they are.
They are in this situation. Yeah. So, but it's an important point, because again, just a small little breaks for a junior club can make a difference. So it's important.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like the other Section B in that. There you have Moat against St. Lomas. All these games are on Monday. Home team gets advantage, the first team out gets advantage. Moat versus Lomans, 7:45. Carson Kinnegall versus the Downs, 7:45, and Killucan versus Athlone. Mullingar Shamrocks, I think from talking to people on this one, I think the junior clubs voted to go 6. So I think the 7 teams went into the hat, and one of them got drawn out to go up into Section A. And I think it was Mullingar that came out. Probably some of the junior clubs were probably hoping it would be maybe a lesser one or whatever.
Or will that be a different team every year? Or is it just set in stone now? Say Mullingar Shamrocks get to the semi-final, this year out of Junior 1, will they still be in Junior 1A next year?
I don't know. Well, if you just by I don't know what
could depend on who comes out of Junior 2.
Yeah.
Because if a junior team wins Junior 2, I would imagine it'll go in with the rest.
Okay. Like
I would imagine
Ballycamoyle or Delvin or Loughlin Valley or some of them win Junior 2. Shamrock's probably fall back into that.
Yeah.
Now, and who gets relegated, I don't know then what way that works. Good luck to the C, whatever, and sorting that one out.
But like, there's a few good games there. Like, if you have Ball and Kilbeggan is going to be hotly contested. Like, that's a game you want to lay down a marker very early. And in fairness to Kilbeggan, Nigel Adamson will have them going well.
They finished third in Division 3, and unlucky to miss out in the league final. So in
fairness to them, alluded to Kilbeggan are probably the unluckiest team to be relegated last year. Like, they had Maryland beaten. Up until Maryland fella broke his leg, and they were that long waiting for an ambulance to come that they postponed the game. And it was like, by all accounts, talking to Kilbeggan lads, the game they had it well and truly won. Then when they go back and play them in the replay, they got beaten. So they're extremely lucky. But sure, listen, you have to go along with what you have. And Ball would like to get no better man than Dags to get them going. He has done it. He's done it on numerous occasions where he had to come in and pull them over a hole, and he always does it, to be fair.
Yeah, he does. Yeah, he knows that junior football,
and he knows the club well. He's great experience of it.
Done for a couple of years.
Absolutely,
he's been around that junior,
absolutely,
the group as such. He'll know all those teams. He know what
and he's at every football game you ever go to. Dags. He is, so he knows his football inside out, and he'd be a great man to get involved. Like, I'd love to see the likes of him getting back involved with underage county teams where we have lads that have been in, like, he has been there and done it for Ball himself as a player, and he's a superman to have around the place, I'd say. And it's Ball are lucky that obviously a change of manager is not ideal, but to have a good man coming in for him, and I'm pretty sure they'll have to throw their lot in with him now. Like, if you get rid of a manager halfway through the season, you have to throw your lot into whoever you come in with, whoever comes in, and especially when he's a local man.
Yeah, and sometimes it can work that way. It can turn things around, and you can get guys fired up. You can build that kind of siege mentality, if you like, and go forward. And but the tough start is there. I mean, round 1 against Kilbeggan Shamrocks, you couldn't ask for a tougher start, really. But maybe that's exactly what they needed. They played well in the league. They had some good league form. They just missed out in the league final. I know it was a lower division in Kilbeggan Shamrocks, but they'll feel that they can test Kilbeggan Shamrocks in this one. It'll be interesting to see how it goes.
And as we'll see going through the other groups as well, first game is so crucial. You get a win. It's 4 coming out of the 6. You get a win in the first game. You have them on the head-to-head. You're looking up straight away. Like, it's positive then straight away. Like, and I'm sure that every team is looking at it that way.
Well, absolutely. I'm like, we're delighted that the 4 is still there. It's not gone like to senior and intermediate, because again, at least in the groups which we'll talk about, if you lose that first game, you're under massive pressure straight away. But everybody wants to get a good start earlier on, and it makes that coming in a bit of a pep in everyone stepping to training on Tuesday or Wednesday night. Makes it a lot easier. But again, if you look at that junior 1 again, I think Lomans and the Downs are they're going stealthily on the other side. I'd say, like, a lot of the Downs lads, they'll have a lot of the minors in from last year, and good lads come through. And said Lomans were again within a minute of beating Ballinagore last year in the semi-final. So so it's
there's no guarantees the winner of a junior challenge will come from section
absolutely
A. Absolutely not. The Junior 1 and Junior 2 sponsored by our good friends here in Clark's Park here and Kerry. So best of luck to all teams starting out in that championship this weekend. As I said, the Section B, all games on the Monday, and in Section A, Ballynacarry and Kilbeggan's on Friday evening at 7:30. Saturday evening has St. Joseph's, St. Paul's. St. Paul's we didn't mention. They'll be hoping that, no more than Brownstown hurlers, that they're after coming up from Junior 2, so they'll be hoping to carry a bit of momentum into that one as well. They're a tough draw against Joseph's on Saturday evening, 7:15, and then on Monday, Bunbrosna and Mullingar Shamrocks, and you're travelling not too far down to your neighbours in Multifarnham there for that game.
So, Ray, correct me, are all those games in neutral venues?
the top three
Junior
are
one,
the Junior A,
Yeah.
Junior 1 Section A are all neutral venues.
Okay.
Isn't it? I'd say, like Danny was saying about during the break there, that we were talking about the 18-year-olds been caught in limbo and this and that. I'd say St. Paul's are devastated that the 18-year-olds not played, because I think Finn Higgins, the young fella that played full forward for Gloucester Wirra, he's a young lad. He's got another one of those kids that can very easily push up and into county under 20s and stuff like that, and he's going to be sitting in limbo, and who knows whether St. Paul's are even playing at a high enough level. Like
I doubt even, and I don't know, would Finn Higgins even have an under 20 team that he could play with at club level, because I'm not sure. I
don't know if there's not with Delvin or
I'm not sure. But he's a very good example of a guy now that's could fall through the cracks.
Oh, absolutely,
absolutely, and St. Paul's and Kenny Higgins doing great work out in St. Paul's, but again, it's that example, Alan, where you can potentially lose a top class forward like that by just by into that fact, and he would be a massive help to St. Paul's if he was there.
Yeah, and I was doing a very small bit with the under 20s on match days this year, and you have the likes of not being able to see Will Scahill play.
Yeah.
On a regular basis after the performances he put in at under 20 level with the county. The teams he played against Kildare, Dublin, Louth. He's not going to get near as much attention at club level as he did in them matches, and he was cleaning out teams himself individually a lot of the time. So that's just disappointing that you don't get to see them. He's 18, he's not.
It could be a situation that Will Scahill plays National League before he plays for Shandona.
There's no doubt that's going to happen.
Yeah.
No doubt in my mind that he will play National League football at some stage with Westmeath Seniors next year. No doubt, before he plays a game with Shandona.
And if he's brought in on the Westmeath panel, he won't be obviously going back to his club. No. So, yeah, it's a little bit.
He mightn't play with Shandona until the championship.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a funny one, and there's
pros and cons.
The pros and cons.
And I mean,
he's an exceptional talent now, Alan. You have to give him that.
But there's not too many cons though.
No.
What's the cons to it? To letting an 18-year-old play? We all played. Danny played. I think I might have marked. There's 3 years between myself and Danny. I'd say I played against you in an under 21 county final. You were 18. You were after playing a whole season with Castle.
My first game for Finney was an intermediate relegation playoff.
What age you?
17.
17.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I played in the county senior hurling final when I was just 16.
Yeah. Well, the con is
But you were minded well that day.
The con is the workload, and it's the science behind it, and that's the reason.
But that's not. You have to rely on your senior manager.
Yeah.
To look after these players. If they're playing minor on a Thursday or Friday night, okay, well then it's up to, say it's out in Bunbrusden, it's up to Danny to look after that player, which he will. We're not Aegis. I'm not going to throw a young lad out that we know he played 60 minutes on Friday with his club at minor level. Okay, well we'll use him for 10 or 15 minutes on Sunday. But sure, if we don't, what's going to happen? He's going to play minor with his club on Friday night. He's going to play soccer or rugby Saturday and Sunday. So we're losing these good lads, or the lads that are in between, to go play soccer, because they can play adult soccer. They can go out to Mullingar Shamrocks or Mullingar Athletic and Mullingar Town, and they can play adult level with these boys at 18 years of age, and we don't let them play GA. We're going to lose a load of kids to other sports, and especially the way the rugby club out here in Mullingar are going at the minute. They're flying, really, really massive setup out there. We're going to start losing loads of players to there.
I think it's an onus, Damien, that the club have to, if the rule is changed, the club have to take ownership and make sure that the management teams work with each other. But again, I'm looking at, say for instance, I might be going out to a training session on Tuesday night, and there could be any Shamrocks could be training before us, and there might be 10 or 12 of them lads training, and we're training with a certain number. And geez, if they were up training with us, it would make a massive difference to us as a junior team, and it would make a massive difference to them from a personal point of view, in terms of a development point of view. So.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think there's too many cons.
Yeah, this issue has been going around now for a number of years, and it's not going to go away. And I think the county board need to look at this again, and especially for the junior clubs. I mean, one or two guys is the difference between. Yes.
Well, Brendan, what's the magic word? The demographics.
The demographics, yeah.
The numbers are not
And
there.
in Cork, actually, they have that. What Brendan is referring to. The junior clubs they're helped out. They can play the 18-year-old.
Yeah.
But the guys, the demographics, the bigger numbers, the bigger clubs probably don't need to play them. And Alan makes a very, very valid point, actually, and Daniel. The management teams within clubs have to work together and they have to be streetwise and they have to be clever, because it's about protecting a player and ensuring that he's not overloaded and he doesn't have to train. He doesn't have to train every night. He doesn't need to train every night with the adult team. But it is obviously it's going to come up. It comes up every year for a vote. It gets closer every year. It failed again this year, I think, for the third or fourth time in a row. It's inevitable it's going to come up again.
Like I said, just with demographics and the way people, you're looking at your people in your 20s are all, a lot of them after college are emigrating, they're going away. So like country clubs are losing lads that age group. They're looking at lads there who are maybe 17, fit, strong, young lads, and they can't play. And next minute, it's very frustrating for clubs and very hard to, from, like I said, from a developmental point of view. You're looking at it and they're like, we'd one lad this year and he was there for the warm-up. I didn't actually know he was underage, and someone came over to me and said, oh, he's underage. Had to tell him, and next minute he just went storming out of the dressing room because he just wanted to play. To be fair to him,
Listen, it's the smaller clubs that are suffering.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like Castletown, we've enough numbers in Castletown not to be playing the 18-year-olds, and that's fine. It's not from a Castletown point of view, but from a Malachi's point of view, it is. Like we have 2 or 3 lads that are 18 years of age that would be playing for Malachi's this weekend, and our numbers are extremely low. Do you know what I mean? So, like if you look at the Dublin Senior Hurling County Final last year, Kilmacud Crokes played Nafina, and the young lad who had just turned 18 years of age playing corner forward for Nafina or for Kilmacud scored 1-5 in the final, and we have 7 or 8, maybe 50 or 60 young lads, 18-year-olds in the county here that can't play, and that's in Dublin. That's not
where numbers are.
Where numbers are massive, and they probably don't need it, but they're still allowed play. Now, if it's a case of maybe move the minor championship from a Friday night back to a Wednesday night, and then that gives them the 3 days recovery going into a weekend. Like if it was in Castletown, and Pat, who's heavily involved with the Castletown under-16s, and please God, will move up to the minor team over the next couple of years. If I was managing it, we would talk to one another. And if Pat said to me, "Jeez, he's struggling now and he's sore and he's this and that," well, then we wouldn't play him at the weekend. Even in the intermediate match, you wouldn't play him because you look after him and make sure he's okay. And I'm pretty sure Danny do the same thing from his point of view.
Well, and you look at it from the funny point of view. At the World Cup last night, there was a lad playing for Spain who, I don't know, he could be 19, but the World Cup was this time last year, which he still would have been playing for Spain. He could have been playing for his country. Two of them, and there was a 16-year-old from Mexico playing in the World Cup. So not to use the adage, if you're good enough, you're old enough. But again, I'm not in favour of playing 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds. But it's just that guy who's turning 17, 18 into that year, and he's getting no county football. He might be on an under-20 club team. Yeah. He might be on an under-20 county team, and he mightn't be getting playing for either, or he mightn't be playing for the county team because he just mightn't be big enough and strong enough yet. There's no bridge for that player to develop at that age group, and that's and then obviously, it's, as Alan correctly said, from a small club point of view, from them 1 or 2 lads can make some difference, and just even to the whole vibe of the club, to see somebody come in, a new lad come in, Jesus, it rises the tide, so it does. It's uplifting, so it is.
Well, I can understand from the county board's point of view, for a logistical point of view with fixtures. It is a killer, and there's no point in me giving out about fixtures because Peter Collins is doing a great job, really, really top drawer job, and it's not a job that I do myself. So I'm here sort of half giving out about it, but at the same time I won't take up the job and do it myself. But at the same time, it'd be great if these 18-year-olds, we're not looking for under 70s, but if the 18-year-olds could play, it'd be massive around the whole county, and we wouldn't lose them to other sports.
Yeah, and I know apart from the minors, you've the likes of young Conor Williams, who's probably the outstanding minor hurler in the county at the minute. He's not going to get to play club hurling until 2028, right?
That's true. What you see, you are talking about the elite exceptions.
Yeah, I know.
Conor Williams this moment could play club hurling for Collinstown, the senior hurling championship, no problem. His physique, his energy, his ability, his skill, everything can. But he's won. But like on the downside of it, I can see both sides. On the downside of it, I seen back years ago in our house, Niall had 6 managers at one stage. But every one of them managers wanted him. They wanted him first. And it got to a stage that he actually broke his thumb, and it was the best thing that ever happened. Because he got a break, he got away from it. He was nearly been, like, there was under 20s, clubs, football, counties. Brian Hanley had him playing senior county. He was in college. Everybody, you know, if you're talented, everybody wants you, and everyone expects you to be there, and they also expect you to perform for them. But then there are far and few between exceptional players, you know, you don't have it. But Daniel is right. In the small rural club, they are looking at 30-somethings and saying, God, there's a lad coming at 17, or there's 2 lads at 17, there'll be 18 next year. Christ, they'll be a huge asset. Yeah. That really is, and as Amy said in Cork, if they're prepared to do it at junior, you know, the likes of the Lomans, the Downs, Mullingar, they don't need them. But the Ballycamiles and Bones and Streamstown, these lads do need them. You know, it keeps the thing alive. It lifts all boats.
Absolutely, yeah. No, like as you said there, Pat, it just keeps the whole thing alive. Like, you know, and it gives lads who are playing as well to go, oh, geez, we've a couple of lads coming down the line, and I'm going to keep soldiering on till that point there, and like, you know, and then
But it doesn't do anyone any harm, right? That's fine. Like Danny would have played a lot of county football the whole way up. Minor, obviously, Leinster and Westmeath and stuff like that. I marked Danny that year in an intermediate semi-final out in Shandona. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was 18 years of age, I was 21. Well, it didn't do either of us any harm. Like, he wasn't going to be killed. It's one of those, I can understand what Pat's saying. We're talking about the elite of the elite with 6 managers. But there's loads, hundreds of young lads out there that are turning 18 this year that they might only have 1 manager, and they mightn't play that championship. And some of them, as we said, the likes of Finn Higgins, I don't know if he's even able to play under 20, whether they even have a team out there.
I don't know.
You don't know either way.
And the funny thing before, an argument before used to be that they were doing their leaving cert, but now most of them are doing TYs, so they're actually over 18 when they're doing their leaving cert nowadays. Like, you know, so they're actually playing adult football or hurling when they're actually doing their leaving cert. So
anyway,
we're not going to start this. But it's not going to go away.
No.
And I'll finish on just one little story from Kilkenny. And I was talking to a man, it was a number of years ago, from Glenmore. Now, Glenmore were a team that won All Ireland senior championships, but they fell right back down, and they were playing, I think it's Alan Murphy, your brother.
Murphy's brother.
Yeah, his brother. He was underage, and they played him to make up numbers, and they were fined every time they did it, and they just paid the fine. And they probably accepted the fact that if he was hurted, he wasn't covered under insurance, which seems to be a lot of the reason why we can't do things around anymore. But they did it, they played him, he went on to play senior county with Kilkenny, didn't do him any harm. Kind of just adds to your point, Alan. Anyway, we'll move forward, and we're going to look at the Shane Murphy Intermediate Championship. Starting this weekend, we'll look at Section B first of all. We'll look at the two again. We'll look at Section B anyway. Friday night, Ballinagower against Castlefine Cool Whitehall is in Kinnegad at 6:30. On Saturday, Maryland versus Ballymore, that's in Tubberclare at 5:15. And Saturday, also St Mary's versus Rosemount in Shandona at 5:30. Now there's a double header. That game in Shandona is a double header along with Multi and St Malachy's, which is on at 7:15. There's a double header also in Kinnegad with Shandona and Milltown at 8 o'clock. Lads, looking at that Section B, Ballinagower, Castlefine Cool Whitehall, Maryland, Ballymore, St Mary's, Rosemount. St Mary's, Rosemount, 2 teams relegated. Castlefine Cool Whitehall finished 3rd. Now, the 3rd place is up for grabs this year, more importantly. Ballinagower coming out of Junior 2 to Junior 1, now to Intermediate. Maryland and Ballymore, local derby. We're looking at a relegation battle there already, early doors. What do you reckon, lads?
Well, I think it comes the point you made earlier, Ray, that the first group game is critical here for like this the 6 teams in the group, like, you know. So from Ballagore, Finay had a great year last year, finishing 3rd. Ballagore coming up from junior, you know, you've Tommy McDaniel's there, like, you know, and just with the new rules and everything like that, like, an incredibly hard team to play against and hard to stop Ballagore. Like, you know, they're really on a Michael Ennis system going very well out there. So like, that's a tricky one with Finay again coming back, like of a Darragh McCormick and Mark Cunningham. Like, you know, they have the players there who can hurt any team really at intermediate level. Like, you know, so it's and Gaffney's there. So that's a massive game for Finay. You know, and then you look at Maryland, Ballymore, again a local derby there. You know, you've Kieran Martin playing like, you know, with these new rules, like, you know, like someone like him could be a game changer in terms of that level, just being able to break the tackle and break a defence there. So, but again, Ballymore, we played them again in the league this year, and very well drilled. Murphy's down with them, Alan Murphy's down with them. Very well drilled, very well coached team there. So again, that's going to be, you know, there's going to be a very tight game there as well now, Ray.
St Mary's, Rushford and Rosemount. St Mary's Rushford won Division 3 comfortably over Maryland. I don't know if anyone's seen that game, but if you were a Maryland manager, you'd probably be worried watching that in, because St Mary's huge pace in that team. Damien Gavin has a lot of young lads coming through there, and he's huge pace in the team. And we all know football is now really, realistically, a game of pace.
Yeah, in fairness, Gavel have them lads going. It's always good to have one of your own at this level coaching you, because they'll all listen to you and they know that you have your own club at heart, and that's what Gav got out of them lads in the league final. Jeez, they were absolutely outstanding. And Rosemount were going quite well as well.
Yeah,
they're plugging away in the background, and they have Baidu back fit now, fully fit again. So in my eyes, this game is going to come now. Whoever wins this game will probably top this group.
Yeah. They're the 2 teams relegated, and going on that, you should be the 2 strongest teams coming down into it.
And then the other 2 games are, like, you'd love to go to Ballymore and Maryland, because there'll be skin and hair flying there. There'll be no one holding back. There'll be no prisoners held. And then Ballagore and Castlefine, like, the loser of that game is going to be under pressure.
Oh yeah, that's it. Like a loser of like them for those 3 games there, you're under pressure. There, I'd understand the Bridge and Rosemount coming down. Like, you know, like if you're looking at one of those teams coming up and the new rules in place, you're going, this isn't, you know, a must win that first game, and you're in a really good position to potentially get a quarter final there. Like it's that tight, like, you know. But like Gav has the Bridge going well. I haven't seen Rosemount, but again they finished 3rd in Division 2. So again, you know, we're thereabouts, like, you know. So they're obviously a bit of form, they're going well.
Yeah, come back
absolutely,
into it as well.
Yeah.
You know, again, another one of the Westmeath senior panel that'll be, you know, looking to continue on a good bit of form this year with the club as well. Good to see him back fit and stuff like that. But
Carol Emery, a very good manager. He's still involved with Rosemount there, and by all accounts, John Kane is in giving him a dig out every now and again as well. So they'll have their house in order, and that'll be a good game. It'll be tight, and it'll be. And just my eyes, I think these are going to finish 1st and 2nd in a group, and whoever wins this game will be favourites to finish top.
Yeah, no huge advantage to doing that either. You know, I know
well,
first or second is going to get you promoted. I know
you top
that.
this group. Who do you play?
You play either third in
along with the 3 teams.
Yeah, or along with the 3 in your group. So top 2 from the Group A goes into the semi-finals.
Yeah.
3rd from Group A will then play either.
It's then an open draw.
It's then an open. Well, I'm not too sure.
Draw,
It's an open
quarter-final draw.
Yeah.
You have the 3 out of Section B played the 3rd team in Section.
Okay, I thought it might have been said already that 3rd in Section A plays 3rd in
so.
Section B,
No,
1 and 2 play one another.
No, there's a draw actually for
no
quarter-final.
That's okay.
We look at. Do we want to do predictions? I know it's very hard with form. Maybe we've kind of nailed our colours to the mass who we think is going to go up, and we might just leave the predictions till we see how form goes after this weekend.
No, I nailed me, man. None of the boys of that.
Okay, Alan.
They all backed out.
Okay, but Alan, you.
I'd say, I'd go here. I think Castlefine will win the Ballagore and themselves game. I think Ballymore and Maryland, it could go either way. I'm going to say a slight preference for Maryland, and I'll go with Rosemount to win the bridge in Rosemount.
Right, Damien, you're under pressure now.
Well, I'm going to go for Ballynagore to win against Finney, because I think Tommy McDaniel with the 2 pointers, that could be a big factor in that match. I'd go for Rosemount to upset the odds against Roxford Bridge. I think that could be a cracker. Physically, they might just have the edge, and that could be the deciding factor in that one. And with Baidu coming back in, that's going to work in their favour too. But yeah, you can appreciate that Damien Gavin will have St Mary's Roxford Bridge on flying form too. So a great game to look forward to there. The big derby game between Maryland and Ballymore, that's 50-50 really. Yeah, I'd probably edge towards Ballymore on that one, despite Kieran Martin's influence.
Yeah. Danny, we go to you now, and I know it's unfair, you're a former Castle Finale.
Oh, yeah, well, I
have to tip them.
Absolutely. Well, look,
He's had about 5 clubs.
Well, no, more than that.
More clubs and Tigers.
No, look at Jerry Feary as Finney. Again, when it comes to Finney, you can league form is out the window. It's just you can't guarantee. So again, it just all depends on lads come back in from the hurling. Make sure there was no knocks picked up last weekend. But look at I'm tipping Finney just to win that really close match. But again, the likes of Tommy Mack, Dara Seary, Brandon, Carey, hard stopped. Hard team to play against. But again, tipping Finney in that one. I think I'll go for. I haven't seen Rosemount, but I think at the bridge I'm going to go for the bridge and Maryland Ballymore. Maryland is Callum. Will Callum McCormack be fit? How will Kieran get on? I just tip Maryland to come through in that one, I think.
Right. Brendan, the past two hurling predominantly. I know, but you follow both.
I would, the Finney Ballynagore game. I think Finney just have a bit too much power for Ballynagore. I think I'll tip Finney there. Maryland Ballymore. A draw game there. I think you couldn't really. I'm sitting on the fence for that one. And the St Mary's Rosemount game, I don't know. I just have a feeling for St Mary's. I think they're young, and Gav will have them in good shape. That'll be tight. But I give the nod to St Mary's.
I'd say I'll just go with Ballynagore. No, dead right. The only thing they were saying was a bit early for them, the 6:30 start, but anyway, they'll be ready. Rochester Bridge have been turned around this year compared to last year. Last year, I think they hardly won a game at all, league or championship, but they had a very good league. The only thing, and it might work in their favour, they played a challenge against Malachy's, and they got a bit of a rollick, and I think they let in a lot of goals and whatever. It might have just been a wake-up call for them. It could be the best preparation that they might ever get going into it. So I'm going to go with the bridge. And Ballymore are the hardest team to play, hurling or football.
Yeah, I agree with
you never know when they're bet. And at the moment, there's only 2 league hurling matches over, and the fact that last weekend they were putting more heart into it, I'd go with Ballymore.
All right, we'll see this weekend. Good games to look forward to there in that section B. Of course, with the third team getting into the knockout stage, there's a lot more to play for. In section A in that one, Shandon and Milltown is probably the big game of the weekend. Well, in some people's eyes anyway. That's on Friday evening. It's in Kinnegad as well at 8 o'clock. Multi and St Malachy's in Shandon at 7:15. That's part of the double header with Rochester Bridge and Rosemount. And then on Monday night, I think due to a wedding, I think in Castledaly, the other game in that group is Milltown Pass and Castledaly. So Shandon and Milltown, 2 favourites of the championships, probably on paper. Conor Dillon back from Milltown. Does that give them a little bit of an edge from where they were? Danny Scattle will be away. Is this? These are the 2 teams, of course, that had the white-collar boxing against each other last year as well. Is there, can we have, it's gone into Kinnegad for I think, obvious reasons. Can we look forward to this one? Is there as much riding on it as if it was a knockout game? What do you make of it?
It's a big game now with the change in format. And 3 teams coming out puts greater emphasis on it. And it would be a big game anyway. It's a local derby match. Danny Scahill missing for Shandoni, you say that's a blow. That's certainly turns things, I think, probably in Milltown's favour for that round 1 game. But even without Danny Scahill, Shandona have plenty of experience and quality in their side, and they're not going to be easily beaten in that first round game. You know, they'll be looking to push on from last year's defeat in the final. They'll be very close.
Yeah, Milltown, they'll add Conor Dillon back into it. Jack Duncan, a year of inter-county football under his belt as well.
Yes.
You know, I think the two what someone said it last weekend, the two twin towers,
Yes.
the two Murta brothers in the middle of the field, you know. But Shandona then beaten in Division 2 final by Terrace Pass. They probably were disappointed with the outcome of that one as well. So they're a kind of a club that like to, you know, they're a lot about confidence if they get a win going and win a bit of silverware and get on a roll. But, you know, would you say the winner of that one is in prime position for a top position in that group?
Yeah, you probably would in terms of they're looking at the two most recent losers of the intermediate final there in the last 2 years. Shandona Scahill will be a big loss for them. You know, he was a good man to tag and to drive on from centre back last year. It was really a driving force for them. Milltown, it's just that game is just so tight. Like, you know, just again, it's a refereeing decision, or it's a bounce of a ball in a certain way. My old sparring buddy Ray Sheridan's over Shandona, so I know the work that Ray had put into it. So I'm going to tip Shandona in that one just about, but it's going to be one hell of a battle. So it is.
Pat, I know you think you seen some of them last year. You did a bit of umpiring there, so you would have seen some of them.
Look, at both of them are impressive, like, you know, and it should be intriguing because it wasn't just a white collar boxing, there was the boxing and Cusick Park as well previous to that. So look at all these teams are a shot in the dark because you need to see them play in their first round. You know, we're only really given a kind of a synopsis of opinion.
And
so you don't really know, as Daniel said, league form goes out the window when championship comes around. So I would think the hurt is there from Shandona, you know, not, you know, leaving the final the way it ended last year. I would just a preference to them. It's not that I know an awful lot about it, and I'd imagine it'll be tight.
Yeah, it should be a cracking double header out there in Kinnegad with Ballagore Finney and Shandona Milltown Kinnegad. Second game we're looking at there, part of a double header as well, Multi and St Malachy's. Again, another opportunity for a couple of senior county players to be looked at here. For anyone that wants to follow the track, you have, of course, Wally, Rona Wallace, and then you have Shane Corcoran for St Malachy. So, you know, they should bring a big crowd, you know, for that one as well in Shandona. Any fancies? And is Wally? We had him in here last week. Alan, I won't ask you, Alan. Actually, you're going to be playing though. That's what I'm going to ask you.
No, I'm finished.
Okay. Is that official?
That's official.
It's official. Okay. Wally's an injury, he was telling us here, so I don't know what way he is.
He'll be fine. Don't listen to him there. Come on. We all pulled that one down through the years. Listen, he's probably at club level over the last 3 years one of the best players in the country. Yeah. He has been absolutely phenomenal, both at inter-county level and club level. But in particular, the scores he's putting up for a so-called defender, the scores he's putting up are absolutely scandalous. He could be the difference in who wins this match. He will be the difference who wins this match. If Malachy's can tag him and keep him quiet, well, you're not going to keep him quiet, but if you can keep him sort of quiet, Malachy's could win this match. But Multi will be mad favourites to win this game because, number one, their preparation will be so far ahead of Malachy's, because Malachy's are after having nearly all their players bar two would have played 2 hurling matches over the last 3 weeks, and Malachy's haven't got their hands on these lads properly since. And there's no doubt that Multi will have a way better preparation going into the game. If Malachy's can keep him quiet, they've every chance of winning the game, but very few teams.
That's easier said than done. We saw what he did against Milltown a few years ago in Cusick Park. He gave an exhibition, and a player of his quality at that level now, and with the 2-pointer in play.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, like that could be the crucial factor.
One of the games last year, I think he scored 5 2-pointers for Multi in the game, one of those games. So I think Multi might just
scored 13 points that evening. 5 2-pointers, 3 points.
it'll be a very good game of football. That
Yeah.
they're two quality teams. Like with Marvin Gavigan there as well, a very good footballer.
David Lynch is back now.
David
as well.
Lynch, so that's going to be a quality game.
The injuries though to Nisha McKenna and Dave Maloney, and they're out for a significant amount of time, so that's going to be a big hit for Malik.
Jack Aiken, they're a nice little player as well in corner forward,
Jack Aller.
Jack Aller, yeah.
Angus probably would have played as well. He was a stylish footballer, so Malachi's the injuries probably coming against him a little bit.
Under new management as well this year.
Yeah, John Tumberley seems to be getting a good kick out of him. But as Alan is very straight, truthful as regards, they just didn't have them, and then the likes of Johnny B being with the county and that, and there's another guy there that Keane Gavigan is missing as well. So they do have. They picked up Nisha McKenna and Maloney. The injuries only came there 2 weeks ago. They would be a big setback.
You've Oran Gavigan as well going. Oran Gavigan and Keane Gavigan. They were essential.
It all depends on Shane Corcoran. He mightn't be 100% either, but if he's going well and it's a good lively evening, the ground is for him, he'll be a big plus for them.
Another player for Multi there is Matty Thornton. Matthew Thornton, a real quality player, a good finisher. These rules, this game, this suits him down to the ground.
He's a playmaker
on the ball.
Brilliant.
He's hard handled.
Different style.
There's no doubt Multi will have the better preparation, but it will come down to how quiet we can keep Ronan Wallace, and that's easier said than done.
Last group game in that one is on the Monday night in Kilbeggan, Milltown Pass and Castledaly. Again, Brandon Kelly will be the leading light, I'm sure, there from Milltown Pass, hoping to continue the goal scoring form he had with the county as well. Milltown Pass, know all about getting to this intermediate finals and stuff like that, but just can't get over the final hurdle. Castledaly promoted out of the second tier last year, I think, and were beaten in a quarter final. Always a difficult team to play against.
Yeah, and they'll have Dave Larkin Dolan back full time this year.
Yeah.
And they haven't had him in maybe 7 or 8 or maybe 9 years, however length of time he's been with the county. So it'll be a big bonus for them to have him back throughout the whole season. And as Milltown Pass held their own in the league, they will be delighted to have the informed inside forward in Westmeath at the minute. Obviously Luke got injured, but in fairness to him, he took up the mantle well, and was a leading light in that full forward line for Westmeath throughout the whole championship. So I would expect Milltown Pass to win it, but at the same time you just don't know what you're going to get from Castledaly. You see, they're a good way away from most of us here, and you won't be hearing much about them, but they've few right good footballers. They've Alan Stone still plugging away there. He's a phenomenal club footballer, and he's big, hardy devil, and they won't can too easy Milltown Pass off these lads, but at the same time you'd love to see Milltown Pass win the championship. Obviously when Malik is playing you wouldn't like to see them win it, but they probably deserve it. They probably deserve an intermediate championship at this stage, but listen, no one's going to hand you that cup at the end of the year.
And new management there this year's Milltown Pass.
But I honestly don't think I'll be able to listen to Shane Dolan. Pass one No,
but in fairness,
Shane's
the only one out there that you wouldn't listen to. The rest of them are nice.
Brandon Kelly is quality forward. It was great to see him. He kind of came of age this year, and a huge responsibility came on his shoulders, obviously, when we lost our marquee man in Luke Loughlin, but he really stood up to it, no more than Shane Corcoran at times as well. They were, the emergence of two great talents. It was great to see, and you would think that if Brandon can find that kind of form at club level, that he can inspire a big run for Milltown Pass again, and they usually start well in championship football, and you take them to win that first round game, but Castledaly will bring grit and determination and fire, and they won't lie down easily, I'd say.
Yeah, there's a couple of cracking matches in that one, in the first round of it there anyway. Just quick cap on that. Friday night in Kinnegad, Shandon and Milltown, that's at 8 o'clock. And Saturday, Multi and St Malachy's in Shandona, 7:15. That's also part of a double header. Then on Monday at Milltown Pass and Castellari. In Kilbeggan at 7:30 standalone game. They're all part of the Shea Murta Intermediate Championship. Plenty of inter-county players there to look forward to seeing. So if you're a neutral and you're thinking of going, just pick your game. But I think there's plenty of talent there and plenty of high quality marquee players that would be nice to see how they get on with their clubs this year as well. It'd be interesting to see do they draw more attention, or refereeing maybe not as tight as it would be in inter-county stuff where lads get away with it with lads.
It'd be interesting to see as well how to be fair to the inter-county lads, how they all come through and in terms of hitting that ground running again. It's been a long hard year for them. So it's that'll be interesting to see, especially over the first weekend, how the form lines are. And it's in terms of it's been exceptionally tough for them.
In fairness, this is the championship you want to win. This is the year you want to win, because this is the most competitive. This is the best we've been at inter-county level in a long time.
20 years.
Without a doubt. And
but this is the perennial puzzle as well, the intermediate. I mean, we're after going through that there, and fair play to guys for sticking their neck on the line, because I mean, there's games there they are 50-50. I'd say all the games there's they could go either way, and it's going to depend on a little a run of form, a run of scores in the games.
There's not a game there that in any of them
you couldn't say confidently
that you would say
absolutely.
That's a shock.
No. Yeah.
But anyway, I'll nail my colours to the last game.
No different than the county final last year. A 2-pointer at the end.
Yes.
Could be the difference. It's just.
I go with Shandona to beat Milltown. I go for Multi and Malachy's to be a draw, and I go for Milltown Pass to beat Castellari.
Damien, quick one as well. 3.
Well, I'm going for Ronan Wallace to inspire a winning start for Multi Farnham in that game. I'm going for Brandon Kelly to do likewise for Milltown Pass, and I'm going for a draw in the Shandona Milltown match.
Sit on the fence, Danny.
I'm allowed to sit in the fence.
Oh yeah, I'll probably go now. I've already nailed it to Shandona. So right. Shandona, I'll probably tip Multi and Milltown Pass. I haven't seen anything in Castellari. I don't know. I'm tipping Milltown Pass on just a few forward. Finbar, Brandon Kelly. These lads I know. That's just.
Brandon.
Shandona, Milltown. That's going to be a real humdinger. I just think Shandona have a little bit more. Tom Malloy there will run the show, and I think he'll get them over the line. Milltown Pass and Castellari. I think Milltown Pass for just a bit more there with Brandon and Finbar. They'll get through there. And Multi Malachy's. I'm going to sit in the fence there and go for a draw game there.
Pat O'Brien,
I'm not going to say anything at all about it, but I would be more interested to see is the attendance is going to be up at these matches, because all these armchair supporters that followed Westmeath through the summer, do they realise that their clubs need them now? And will they come to see all these quality players that played for Westmeath playing against each other now? And it'll be because the hurling hasn't been attended well. There's no point in saying otherwise. It has been very poorly. So I would imagine the county board is dependent on these competitions, and maybe the format, the way it has been rejigged, that it's going to be very, very tight. It could also.
I would say there will be better attended anyway than there were the last couple of years.
Well, you would be hoping.
Yeah, without doubt. I'd say it definitely will be, because if I remember back, I'd say 2002 and 2003 we went through. Well, we were going okay, but we still weren't winning anything as such. We won Division 2, obviously, but when we won the Leinster, I remember going the following weekend. Actually, the Sunday we played Derry in a quarter final on Saturday evening, and I played for Castown on Sunday evening in the quarter final at Hurling Championship, which I believe was on the following day. I hadn't played all year; it came on as a sub that day. But the following weekend we played first round of the championship, and it was in Cusack Park, and we played Mullingar Shamrocks, and the crowd that was in it. It was a double header. I don't know who else was on it, but the crowd was outrageous. Now the thing about it is they've got 4 or 5 weeks since the county have played, and things have sort of died down a touch. Back then we got beaten on a Saturday, and the following weekend we started the championship. So we went straight in from one into the other. So the buzz was still probably around the county at that stage, but it might have died down slightly. But I'd say it has to be. As Pat said, there's loads of people going and they're posting stuff left, right, and centre on social media. And as Pat says, go out and support your club now, and that's what you have to do.
Well, if anyone does an old sport junkie, they're going to start falling off now with the World Cup gone and the golf gone and everything like that now. So they get out and absolutely, exactly.
Yeah, and it's looking, in fairness to the county board, they gave the players, they didn't start the football championship. They held off. The hurling was up and running for two rounds before they started the football. So look, hopefully we'll see the majority of these lads back out with their clubs and back into good form as well. But we look forward to a great Shea Murty Intermediate Championship, because as Damien said rightly, you could stick a pin in any one of the 12 names there and anyone could win it. We've seen it. Malachi's winning it over Section B a couple of years ago, so anyone can win that championship. Now lads, we look forward to the big one, the Senior Football Championship, Section A. Games this weekend, Saturday, double header in TG Cusick Park, starting with Coruscant Kinnegad and Gary Castle at 5:30, and that's followed by the Downs and St. Lomans at 7:15. Both those games live on Iarmhi TV this weekend, so a nice double header there if you're out of the country or whatever, you can't get to the Cusick Park. The other game in that top group, Mullingar, Shamrocks and Colliery, that's part of a double header, that's in Moat on Saturday evening as well. But the championship starts on the Friday night. Game live on Iarmhi TV again with Terrace Pass and Killucan in TG Cusick Park at 7:30. Moat and Tubberclare is in Athlone at 7:30 as well. And then on Saturday, that second game of the double header in Moat, along with Mullingar, Shamrocks and Colliery, is Tang and Athlone. Now lads, we look at Section B first of all. Moat, Tubberclare, Terrace Pass, Killucan, Tang, Athlone. Local derby to kick it off there with Moat and Tubberclare. Tubberclare Intermediate champions.
Suffering a little bit, I think, with injuries, and
they've lost Matty Whittaker for a while.
Matty Whittaker and Tom Burke, and just a little bit. I'd say they're going to struggle a little bit. I think, just coming up against Moat All White, to have a little bit of more experience at this level now. You don't want to be missing somebody of Matty Whittaker's calibre coming into your first game at senior level, So that's a big ask, I think, for Tubberclare, that first round game.
Local derby, Alan, is it in form go out the wind, and Tubberclare be looking to continue on from where they finished last year?
Yeah, they will be looking to continue on, but when you're missing someone like Matty Whittaker, it's a phenomenal loss to any club, and he's a driving force behind Westmeath, never mind going forward, never mind his club. And in fairness to Robbie Ford, he was exceptional for Westmeath this year at times, coming on in a lot of games and really turning the tide in our direction. But it's going to be a tough one. If Tubberclare were playing nearly anyone else in this group bar Moat, you'd say they mightn't get across the line. But seeing it's a local derby and there'll be lots more on the line there, it's going to be extremely close. But I just think that the experience and more and the injuries, like Tom Burke is a major loss to Tubberclare as well. Like, they are two big players they're missing, and who knows, they might have another couple of injuries on top of that. But at the same time, I'd say most will just get across the line.
A good battle in that one. We should see two of the fringe midfielders on Mark McHugh's panel. You have Harry Niall and Owen McCabe be coming up against each other around the middle of the field again. Be an important battle there. Get supremacy for one.
Like last couple of years, Moat have really been flattering to deceive. Like, at the start of the year, they're kind of on the edge of everyone's tongue in terms of they could make a go with it. Like, they're a bit like Tubberclare were a couple of years ago. They've won under 20s, did whatever, and it's really now that they really need to carry that through. Like, the likes of Robbie there, and young Lowry, whatever, Dara Lowry, you find footballers there. I think this year is a massive opportunity to get into a Moat, really to get into a knockout stages. With the third team there, that they have to really be targeting a victory here. With Whittaker gone, it's a huge loss for Tubberclare. Again, him playing wing back last year for Tubberclare was really the find of the year for Westmeath as well. It lay a foundation for this year for the county. But you'd have to see that Moat, if they need to take this opportunity. And
especially with the third place now.
Absolutely.
And of course, we can't forget Moat now also provided our goalkeeper in the last game.
James Mitchell.
I'm not sure whether he plays out the field for the club.
He played in goals last year. I don't know. He's a very capable footballer out the field as well. But he played in goals last year for them against us anyway. He definitely was in the goals. So he's a good keeper now, and he'll probably have his eyes set on trying to hold on to that number 1 jersey in Westmeath, which will be hard done now because there's lots of good keepers around Westmeath at the minute. And I'd say he'll be in the goals.
I saw both of these teams in the league. Killucan were in the same league, Division 1. And I was very impressed with Tober Clare, even without
county contingent.
The county lads. Like, they have solid footballers there. You know, you have Keelan Connell there as well as a panellist on the senior football team, and Taylor Slevin is a really strong player there under 20. He is quality. Like, he won that intermediate final with the last kick of the game last year. So I'm not so sure. You know, they might be underdogs, but I don't think they'll fear Moat. Now, Moat have a bit more experience, but I wouldn't be at all surprised if Tober Clare beat them.
Yeah, it's a crucial game that, you know, winner looks up and loser is starting maybe to get a little bit looking behind them. Second game, that Thurles and Killucan. Thurles won Division 2 in the league. Looked like they were in trouble for a while, but won it convincingly enough in the end. They're a little bit in transition, I think. Is that fair to say, Alan? I know you know some of the lads there. Dennis telling us here last week in the podcast he's back on the panel again. So, Thurles, you know, you write them off at your peril, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. Listen, there's loads of seasoned campaigners in that Thurles team. I was lucky enough to spend a few years over there, and they're a brilliant club. They really, really are. Like, it's you never have to go looking for lads to see where they were training. They're always there. The numbers are quite big for a small rural area with clubs coming in on top of them from all angles. But they're really, really good. But I was extremely impressed with Killucan last year in the championship when we played them. I couldn't believe after we played them that they didn't get out of the group. They obviously let themselves down in other games throughout the year, but I think Killucan are a fine football team, and I think over the next number of years, the only thing that's really affecting Killucan would be the hurling end of things, because they're obviously an exceptional hurling team out there as well, and no more than ourselves, they've loads of dual players. So I was very, very impressed with Killucan last year, and if they can play with the fluency like Killucan play with the fluency like they did against us last year, I just think they might have a little bit too much for Thurles here.
Brendan?
2 or 3 lads won't talk to me now after this.
That's fair enough. I'm sure it wouldn't be the first time lads fell out with you, Alan. I want to ask you just about one of the injured players. Is it Sammy Smith?
Yeah, Sam Smith is. He's not
great hopes for him.
Yeah, look, he showed great potential, and he got a serious injury with at the start of the league with Westmeath, and he's doing veterinary as well, so he committed to, I suppose, finishing out that and getting his injury cleared up. Now, I believe he's in America at the moment. He mightn't even be around for Killucan, so he's a big loss. But Devon Hill was on the Westmeath panel this year, and you know, you have players like Sean Leach and that, you know, there's the Gravels are still going to give you everything there, but Thurles are a tough nut. Like, they never go down without a good fight, and you know, Jamie Ganood is their main man there. Like, and you know, if you have a player of his quality and leadership, he'll galvanise them. Now, Peter Clark is a loss.
Yeah.
There's no point saying otherwise. His energy.
Adam Flanagan is away. He's in Australia as well. He would have been playing middle of the field.
Yeah, like Peter would bring great energy and make great runs. So, like, it's a big game in the group. Like, as the lads have said there, any of these first round games are. So it's I don't think there'll be much in it now.
No, I still think probably both teams will come out of the group.
Okay.
I just think Killucan. Now, in fairness, and sort of half glad he's not here tonight because but if they can use Dennis properly, like, he's 41 or 42 years of age, but if they can use him properly, he could be the difference in them winning this game and not winning it, because he has still, by all accounts, a phenomenal turn of pace. he knows where the goalposts are, and that's a big advantage.
So you never lose.
No, absolutely not. And he's still in. He's in better shape than most county players are. Do you know what I mean? He looks after himself so well, and he trains very hard. If they can use him properly, he could be a major cog for them.
Even coming off the bench.
Yeah. No, he won't listen to this. This is why I'm saying. This is why I'm saying this. But he could be the difference in them winning this game.
The Calucan have a couple of advantages. They have a lot of dual players, which can be a disadvantage. However, they play 2 rounds of hurling, so they're championship paced or whatever at that. The other thing is they've two in-house club members there. So again, working with the hurling element there'll be a lot more cooperation, I should say there. So that's a big advantage for Calucan. But again, as you've said there, Thurles Pass, you just don't know what Thurles Pass are going to throw out here. They'll be tough. There'll be nothing easy about it. It's but Calucan with Devon Hill, with Leach. There've Clark there as well. They've some right good football forwards there, they're hard handled.
Yeah, I'd say they're probably better balanced overall.
Yeah.
And playing a bit higher in the league, Division 1. I know they didn't set the world alight. Maybe in Division 1 they'll be a little bit disappointed, finished well down the table. But it is an advantage. It's a distinct advantage playing up there. And now Thurles Pass gone back up, having won Division 2. For a long time in that Division 2 final, they struggled. They didn't know where the posts were. So you can see why they might use somebody of Dennis Lennon's undoubted ability, and in an area like that. So overall, Calucan look better balanced, but Thurles Pass, proud club.
I'm looking forward to seeing Devon Hill in action now this year, because I think it's time for him. I think he was part of the St. Joseph's Roger Bridge team that won the Leinster along with Brandon Kelly.
Yeah.
Now it looks like Brandon has kind of got a little bit ahead of him, but I think Devon Hill has the ability and the talent to get to that level. And I think a lot of the year he spent maybe outside match day.
He was. Yeah, he was on the 26-27 number.
Yeah.
But he has done all that. The year or whatever he's done will benefit from.
Yeah.
Even strength and conditioning
exactly.
ways. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can see it, and you saw it in him in the hurling in the first round against Clonkill.
Yeah.
He took the belt off Padderscally.
Unreal.
That I'm telling you now, most lads still be in hospital. And he got up off the ground. Now he was down for a couple of minutes, but he came off the ground and he played away and he took it. I'm not too sure 3 years ago he would have been able to take that belt. And I saw the same with Jack Duncan. Pa had seen Jack Duncan playing 2 weekends ago against Castle. Physically, they are gone so strong and so athletic and so fit. For the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes for Castle against Father Dalton's, Jack Duncan caused us untold damage because of pace, and pace is massive when it comes to football.
Yeah.
And Devon Hill has that.
He has that as well. Yeah. He has that one as well. Looking forward now to seeing if he can be one of the ones now that holds a hand up coming into next year. Last game of that group, lads. Local derby down at the far end. It's going to be in Moat on Saturday evening. Tang and Athlone. Now Athlone, I would say, are disappointed to be in Section B. They were very close.
They're not too disappointed now with 3 teams coming out of it.
Yeah, but at the same time, they would have, for instance, have been one of the elite clubs. With a couple of minutes to go, it looked like they were going to put Kinnegad out of the championship last year. They faded away, and Kinnegad got in, and we know where they ended up afterwards. Tang, everyone's favourites to be relegated, but I believe they have regrouped and have a lot of lads back. So it's a local derby now that'll have a little bit of a sting in it, I think, down there now on Saturday evening.
Well, no different than we were saying about the Bridge having Gav back. Tang have Paul Conway back, so again a club legend in there, galvanise them all and get them all together, playing. Athlone, when I was involved with the Downs 2 years ago, they came up from Section B, could have and nearly should have bet the Downs in a quarter final. Last year in the first 2 games, should have bet Lomans the first day. and I don't know how they didn't come out. I don't know how they didn't get into a quarter final, being honest, last year. So again, Athlone could be in a good spot to attack this championship from this year. Like, again, be a hard team stop down there to get Ray's back fit, and Shane Allen, Shane Allen's a fine club footballer, and he really stands out at club level, and so does Ray, so again, getting them lads into it, Athlone could be, a potential dark horse this year with the way the format is.
Yeah, I'd agree, and they have a new guy in John Twaddle. He was with most there some years ago, so he knows the lay of the land, and you can bet your life down in Southwest Meath. Again, I would say, like the other match, Athlone, better balanced team here. And while Tang will bring spirit, they'll bring all of that to it, they just mightn't have enough to get past Athlone. Yeah,
Tang held on last year. It was a relegation playoff against Malachite, is that right? But I believe they had a lot of lads away last year. Tom Brown is still smiling about that result. But Tang have a lot of lads back. I think some of them back from Australia. Ronan Hanley, I think, was away last year.
Adam Neary, maybe.
Adam Neary. Some of them.
Back, yeah.
So, we wrote them off a couple of years ago on a previous podcast, and they made the knockout stages afterwards. And
if Athlone go into this match this weekend any way other than 100% focused on getting the win, they could get turned over here. Tang will fight till the bitter end. The few lads that have back that they didn't have last year are quality players. Do you know what I mean? Like really, really top drawer players. They're not.
I don't think they had anyone on the county setup, had they?
No.
So they would, have gone through their league campaign with everyone, available to Paul Conway and whatever. So a chance to maybe get a bit of a head of Athlone.
As Danny said, Spanner is going to get the last drop of energy out of every one of these players. They would live and die for him, and that is a big thing when you have a lad like Spanner and Damien Gavin, Michael Ennis, and these lads that have soldiered not alone just with the county but really emptied the tank for their own clubs down through the years, and just solid men. They'll get as much as they can out of these. This game's going to be an awful lot closer than people think. I still slightly edge Athlone, but there'll be very little in this game.
Yeah.
This group is very interesting. There's 3 teams there that would love nothing better than meeting Athlone in terms of Tubberclare, Bode and Tang. They're looking at all derby matches there, I'd say. That's going to be there's going to be some skin in hair, and then there'll be tight them games. Yeah.
Might help Turrispass and Killuke and then just keep snaking away on their own.
They could be a real battle down there in south of the county. It might be a bit of a distraction.
Take points off each other.
Clumps on one another. And
maybe a few lads sent off.
Yeah, look, it's a great weekend to look forward to, even that section being on, as we said, with the change in format. Kicking off Friday night live on Iarmhi TV as well, Turrispass and Killuke, and Moat and Tubberclare is in Athlone on the Friday.
Just getting on to Iarmhi TV, isn't it some yoke? I know the county board have organised it, and we're obviously a little bit critical of the county board at times, but it's an outrageous facility for people to take up on and see right good club matches, and people are away. You wouldn't believe the amount of people from Castdown and throughout the whole county that watch this every weekend religiously, turn it on, and you know what I mean. It's probably 12 o'clock in the afternoon over in America, and lads are dialing in to watch these games. And I talked to a couple of lads in America weekly, and they would be able to tell you stuff games that I wouldn't have even seen myself, and they're able to say what happened in this game and that game, and it's great.
It all you suppose grew out of COVID that year, and
it did,
it starts from there.
It takes a lot to keep it going.
It's a very valuable service or facility that the county board are providing, and it should be acknowledged, as you rightly say, Alan, because the diaspora around the world, they like to keep in touch with their roots, and that's a huge thing for.
But Donny Malone runs it very, very well.
Absolutely,
he doesn't leave any stone unturned, and even county final days, the way the whole production is ran But it's massive, and the likes of Ger and Ollie and these lads doing the camera work it's like, just a great.
You can buy a double header there for €12, I think.
Yeah, I think the only thing, I think it's $1.99 for the season ticket.
Yeah. And I mean, if you sit down
fun.
there now on Saturday evening and you have a double header there, like it's 4 hours of entertainment, like, you know.
And I think that
Pubs get a great job out.
But I think the big thing, Alan, is the fact that you have to, like, the world is a small place now. But we have people, players, former players, have emigrated, temporarily or permanently or whatever. And, I mean, I was in the holidays in Sydney earlier in the year. And I'm walking down the street and I meet Ronan O'Toole. And I said, gee, great to see you. And he said, the voice. Yeah. They recognise, the brand that is here, VTV, be it, from the matches and from whatever, whatever way they watch them. But it's a great service.
But it's important too to say, like say Pat, for instance, does a lot of the hurling. It's important that people watch the match. They love listening to Pat. I'm not just saying it because he's here, but they love listening to Pat. But it's the honesty of the co-coms. Like, obviously you're doing the game and you're excellent at it, by the way. Yeah. But it's the honesty of the co-coms that lads come on and they give their point of view, and Pat's not giving his point of view, or anyone else, any other Pats. They're not giving it. They mightn't be right all the time, but they're throwing it out there, and that's what people love to hear.
Yeah, and look, it is good, and we hope now that people have tuned in and listened to the Iarmhi Abu podcast as well, where that's all we do is we just give our opinion. We look for we don't know who's going to win any of these games, but sure, all we can do is give an educated guess. And
yeah, exactly.
We could be wrong on every one of them, but be it what it is. But those 3 games. Give me 3 winners, Alan. You want nothing that you don't say on the fence.
I'm going to go Athlone to win only by a couple of points. I'm going to shade it very slightly towards Killucan. But as the boys said earlier on, a lot of it's going to come down to I know that Jamie Canood is struggling with a bit of an injury at the minute, a slight injury and stuff like that, and if they can use Dennis wisely coming on as a sub maybe for 15-20 minutes. But I still just slightly shaded from what I saw at Killucan last year, and I think that Moat will beat Tubberclare specifically because of the injuries that Tubberclare have.
Damien?
Yeah, I would agree with Alan's assessment there on all 3.
On 3. Oh, Alan, someone agrees with you. Danny?
Yeah, I think I'll go for Athlone. Again, Killucan turns Pat, probably go Killucan. Brendan, you nearly have me turn for Tubberclare and what you were saying there, but I still think Moat, whatever, if they're going to do it this year, they need to give it a go, so I'll go for Moat.
Brendan?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with my prediction to Tubberclare. I think there's something about them. Killucan turns past. Well, obviously, I'd have to give the nod to Killucan. I'd be shot if I didn't. And the other game, Tang and Athlone, I just think Athlone might just have a bit more.
Paddy, are you on duty this weekend?
Yeah, well, we're actually doing the first match on Friday night. It's Ball and Kilbeggan.
Lovely.
To kick it off.
Yeah, we were to do one on Saturday, but it was clashing with
Who do you think will win between Ball and Kilbeggan?
Don't know that. Not going to say anything about that. But just going back to the game we're on, last year we done Tubberclare seniors and we done the county under 20 final with Tubberclare won, and I thought they were the most impressive football people play wise.
Yeah.
And I still think, even without Matty Whittaker, if I was the manager of Tubberclare and I said Matty is missing, what are you going to do for him? Because what has he done for you in the last 2 years? Every one of them should die for Matty Whittaker until they get to a position that he's able to come back, if he's able to come back. And I guarantee you, if they're close to October and they're still there, Matty will roll in. So I'm going with Tubberclare on that one.
Very good.
And Athlone, I think, always start well in the championship, and I'm going to stay with them. And Killucan seem to, I don't know, is this format suiting them the whole lot, but I'm going to go with Killucan to start the ball rolling here.
Okay, words of wisdom. Right, fair enough. Section A, lads. 2 big games, double header. That third past Killucan game live in Iarmhi TV, what I think of it as well, on the Friday night. But Carson Kinnegad and Garrycastle and the Downs of St. Lomans, they're both in TG Cusick Park Saturday. 5:30 for Carson Kinnegad, Garrycastle, 7:15 for the Downs Lomans. The other game then is on Saturday in Moat, in Mullingar Shamrocks and Colliery. Starting off, Coruscant, Kinnegad and Garrycastle. Coruscant qualified to the final last year, maybe snuck in the back door. The three now only qualifying for the knockout stages out of this group. Boys, it's going to be dog eat dog in this group, I think. Because you could pick any of the three of them.
Yeah, Jack Cooney is back with Coruscant Kinnegad. Obviously, he's eyeing a senior title. They've been in 2 finals, beaten last year in the final. Played very well against the Downs. Came very close, and the news from Kinnegad is that Jack has everybody available to him. He's all his players back. He'll be looking. Obviously, Brian Cooney had a big run with Westmeath. He showed up well at times. But Garrycastle have kicked on too. They were in the Division 1 final against Mullingar Shamrocks and pushed them all the way to extra time. They have Alex Gardner back. They have John Keane and Gary Dolan in coaching. They're going to be. This is a very, very tight game to call, I think.
This is a huge game, I think. This is a 4-pointer, as they used to say in the soccer.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was actually, the reason I was late in today, I was actually in Kinnegad for an under-16 match earlier on, and I've never seen anything like the facilities out there.
Yeah, incredible.
Oh my God, incredible. Yeah. I went into the gym, I was ended up talking to Darren Giles in there for a few minutes, but while I was in there, I'd say 10 to 12 senior footballers were in now, and they're obviously on a night off tonight, but 10 or 12 senior footballers were in and out. So the gym, the facilities, everything they have out there is perfect. By all accounts, and I didn't hear this from any, I was talking to a fella today that was involved with a team up in Iarmhi that came down to play Kinnegad in a challenge, and Kinnegad were extremely impressive with their whole attack and play. I think there's a few people maybe out in Kinnegad who would be annoyed with me with the way I've said over the last years that I don't think they attack enough, but apparently they were absolutely outstanding in that. And I just think that if Kinnegad can get their forward unit working in a way that these new rules can suit them, because they've loads of shooters and
they've loads of pace.
They have an unbelievable chance of winning the championship. Like, let's be honest about it, they were within a kick of a ball last year of the Downs in the county final. There was nothing in it, and the Downs would admit that themselves, that they were probably a little bit lucky to get over the line.
Well, it was a concession of a soft goal, ironically enough. It was there.
Yeah, it was the other end that actually, but at the same time, I think that Kinnegad will just have a little bit too much for Garrycastle. I think Garrycastle are still sort of rebuilding over the last few years, and I still think that they would have a good outfit again in another maybe 2 or 3 years down the line when they get these young players up to strength wise and the way that Gary and John Kane want them to be. But I just think, from what I'm hearing coming out of Kinnegad about Kinnegad, I think that they have a great chance this weekend of getting off to a good start.
Danny, have you followed much of the?
Yeah, well, if you look at the trend line of Garrycastle over the last couple of years, obviously went down intermediate, won intermediate, finished top of the group last year in Group B, got to a league final this year, could have potentially won it. They're trending in the right direction, so they are putting in a lot of work there. And as Alan alluded to, you've Gary Dolan back there and John Kane back there, two, I would say Messiah is nearly within, I know in John's Rosemount, but I'd say he's that well regarded in Garrycastle, he's probably nearly got the knighthood down there, so in terms of the work he's put in, but Kinnegad, we haven't mentioned the likes of Darren Giles there. Darren Giles is a phenomenal footballer. But the display he put on last year in that county final was unbelievable. He's as good a footballer nearly on his day as there is out in there in Westmeath. And for one reason or another, he's not in the county panel. I don't know why, but he's good enough to potentially be there. If Kinnegad get their power running game going, and in terms of the way they can break from defence, and with the new rules in place, and with the couple of kickers they have there, they'll be hard stopped. Yeah. So, and going by what Alan says, they're obviously moving well as well, and yeah.
But as Damien was saying, they've everyone available. Like last year for most championship, they didn't have Josh Gahan and they didn't have Jack Thorpe.
They were away.
They were in America playing for Westmeath, and that championship ends an awful lot later than the hurling, because they play off the hurling first and then they move over to football over New York. So they didn't have them for a lot of the championship last year. So they have them back fully fit, rolling in behind Jack, and I think it's Shane Mangan, is that the man's name, that's involved with him there. But if they can keep everyone fit and get that forward unit going really, really well, like you hear they are going, they'll be hard beaten.
But Gary Castle are they have serious pedigree. You know, they have a great track record, and they have two of the best football men you could have over a team, John Keane and Gary Dolan. And like, they're a pure football team. They will take, Kinnegad will have to get at their best now to beat these. But I just think Kinnegad's physicality, and as you said, Danny, if they get that running game going, that power game, they just might have a bit too much for Gary Castle. But Gary Castle are a team that you write off at your peril. They'll always come with a game plan for the game, and they won't be easily beaten.
It'll depend too how Gary Castle will react to that league final loss. Do you know, like they didn't play well in that league final. I thought that Mullingar Shamrocks were far superior than them in that. So they have a lot of young lads. They've Alex Gardner back, which is a major plus to them. But they've a lot of young lads playing, and it'll see how they come back from that too.
They'll be disappointed that the change in the format. Like, they would have been, I'd say, eyeing maybe fourth place, maybe third or whatever. But it's going to be a dogfight.
Yeah, they're one of the teams that fits into that category, aren't they? You know, that lonely fourth place, limbo land.
Yeah, limbo land.
But if you look at the Division 1 last year, like the year before, or like they were in a county final, they lost to the Downs by a point in the semi-final. They were in the county final last year. Like, you know, they're always thereabouts, like, you know, and they're just like, you know, I know they were lucky. Not lucky. They came through in the last 10 minutes against Athlone last year. They kind of come from on the brink of death to do it. But it's
there's loads of teams that's going to be a tight group now, because the Downs are going to be without Luke, they're going to be without Jonathan Lynham, and by all accounts Kevin O'Sullivan is out.
Yeah, I think so.
Whether that's true or false, I don't know.
Andrew Kilmartin, I think, is transferred away to London. So, you know, there's 4 players gone off their starting team. And 3 of them are forwards.
Yeah.
You know,
and now they need to get Luke back as soon as they can. And I'm pretty sure he'll do everything he can to get back.
He's working hard now to get back.
Oh, there's no doubt he is, and he's a serious detail, to be fair to him, but he won't be playing this weekend.
Yeah, the Downs and Lomans, 7:15 Saturday. Lomans, I think for the first time in a long time, have sort of come in under the radar into a championship. Is that fair to say? We didn't qualify for league final, but I'm sure there's a lot of hard work going on there. I'm sure they're looking to get back to where they feel they rightly belong. That's top of the tree. Yeah. And if they start off with a win against the Downs on the whole head-to-head thing, you know.
And you see, injuries and absentees are going to be a big factor this weekend, you know, in this first round, and they might be just getting the defending champions. They just might be just getting them at the right time.
I'm not sure what way
from that perspective.
With
Sam McCartan, Danny McCartan, major doubts. That's the understanding there. So that's going to stretch their resources too. But you'd probably say advantage St. Lomans going into the weekend. But they slipped a little last year. Not much, and of course they were up against real quality when it came down to the crunch. You know, of course, Kinnegad and the Downs making the final. Two serious clubs, obviously. But the question now is, can St. Lomans dig deep and go again? They were in 10 county finals in a row prior to bowing out last year and not making the county final. So can they come back again? It'll be remarkable if they can. John Heslin returned for Westmeath. You know, his ability to kick 2-pointers, that's going to come into play.
Is Fowler back for him this year? Is he? I don't
think so.
I don't know.
I don't think so. I could be wrong, but I don't think so.
Okay, yeah. Because he was a massive wild card for them the year, like, you know, he tormented poor Kinnegad, like, you know, with 2 years in a row with 2 worldies of goals, like, you know, so like, you know, but he was always there, like, you know, and just he was potentially something that Lomans missed last year, was that bit of dynamism and big burst going forward, like, you know, so
I'd say the other 4 teams are raging they're not getting the Downs and Lomans this weekend. If it's true about the 2 McCartans not being able to play and there are major doubts, wouldn't they all the other 4 love to be playing one of them?
Points,
It's in fairness, if I would have fancied Lomans to win, but if the 2 McCartans are out, it's a very much a 50-50
It's a level playing field.
Lomans or the Downs are unbelievably well drilled over the last 5 or 6 years. Over the last 5-6 years, they've been well drilled, but they have a style of play. They know the way they want to play. It hasn't changed that much, but it's still hard to stop it. But it won't be as hard to stop it without Luke playing.
Yeah, well, if you're missing Luke, missing Johnny, and missing Kevin, if you're missing those 3, like that's 3 serious operators you're missing. Now, on the positive, listen to on the hurling talk, like Niall Mitchell potentially is going to be back, Darragh Egan's going to be back, like, you know, so they're 2 good additions to come back into it. I've seen them in the league. They've blooded a few new younger lads through as well this year, like, you know, so it's but again, you know, missing, like, you know, if Gary Castle missed Desi Dolan back today, you'd be there going, he's a serious loss. Like, the Downs are missing Luke Loughlin, like, you know, he's a serious loss. There's no 2 ways about it. And then if Andy's gone as well, which I didn't know about that, like, that's Andy Gilmartin is probably one of the most underrated footballers, and Ian Martin as well, like, in terms of what they can actually deliver in club football, like, you know, but
they're a big loss.
Yeah, like, you know, and if Andy Gilmartin's gone, he was a serious man to carry ball and just, you know, take on a tackle, you know.
Yeah, it probably levels the whole thing out unfortunately with the loss of these players. Like, it'd be great to see all of these, and it was a pity we didn't have some of them. But Kevin Sullivan probably was one of the standout performers all year with Westmeath, and I'm not surprised he's suffering, because I mean, some of that, I'm sure he was clocking up kilometre after kilometre. I wouldn't even like seeing the GPS for some of the figures he was putting in. So it'll probably take the bodies a little while to recover from it. Lads, my dark horse for this Section 1 and for the Championship, Mullingar Shamrocks, playing Colliery at the weekend. That's in Moat.
You can't call a Division 1 winner of dark horse now, and a semi-finalist from last year.
Yeah, but you know, they're not...
Come up from intermediate.
Yeah. But... You know, we all when you talk about potential champions, you're looking at Lomans, the Downs, Coruscant, Kinnegad, the ones been there. Shamrocks last year probably went out of the semi-final tamely, I would say, in the way they felt it, but they've a lot of talent, more than Oliver Plunkett. They have a huge amount of talent coming through from underage now to bolster that squad, which will affect their junior team, their second junior team as well. Like, you can't beat numbers coming into a club like that.
No, and a winning habit, all of that's going to feed into it, and there's a buzz about the place. There's a renewed belief around the club, and they're certainly, you know, they're making strides, it has to be said. And then when you look at the kind of vision they have for the future and the development and everything that's going on, it all feeds into they're in a very, very positive place, and certainly they're contenders to take one of those 3 places in even though that's a very tough, seriously competitive Section A, they're contenders to take one of the 3 places, definitely.
Yeah, they're a common team, there's no doubt about that. They have quality there, you know, a couple of the guys there to play with the schools this year, with CBS, Ty Masterson and the Buckley, the goals are excellent. I think they'll need to, if they want to push it on, it's up front really. They'll need like Dean Moore is their main go-to man there. They probably need 1 or 2 more with him. I think though they'll have enough to get over Colliery this weekend. The Colliery now are struggling. Well, not struggling, but they hadn't a great league, and I believe Senan is away. You know, so he'll be a massive loss to them. Now look at Colliery, being Colliery, they'll put up a good fight, and you won't get anything easy off them. But I expect Mullingar to beat them on Saturday evening.
This group is the big group that's going to suffer with the 3 coming out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Out of all the championships that we're going to play, we have probably the 5 best teams in Westmeath in this group, and then the 3 of them are going to come out.
And it's exceptionally unfair for them because again, like it's such like I said, any of those 5 teams could play each other, and on any given day, anyone could win them. Like it's a really difficult format for them to come through, and to 2 of them are going to be out of it. Their season's going to be finishing early, and again, like Kinnegad last year, if they got a run, they could end up winning it, in the old format. So it's it's.
It was a bold, audacious, call it what you like, move to change that and to do it, to introduce it the way it was introduced. I think it's unfair on the teams who were there because they went through years building stepping stones, building blocks, developing. And now suddenly, the team that finishes 4th here again, they're out. They've nowhere to go.
It just beggars belief why they didn't put the 4 semi-finalists into one hat and the 8 other teams into another, and pick 2 and 2 and 4 and 4 and put them in and play it that way, and play the bottom 2 teams play in a relegation playoff, and 1, 2 and 3 go through. That was the fairest way of doing this.
Yeah.
Like I'd say, if you were from the way the Downs are, if you were from Garrycastle, Kinnegad, Lomans the Down, Shamrocks and Curry, you will be just going, I can't believe this.
It's like if you're a man from there, you're just going, this is just it's such fine margins. This, and again, from my understanding of the system, which I can't understand, is that I think if you finish 3rd in Section B, if you finish 3rd in Section B, it doesn't mean you go up to Section A next year.
No.
So you can win a county final. Yeah. You can win a county final, be the 3rd team in Section B, and still be playing in Section B the following year.
Yeah.
And if you're in 4th in,
wouldn't you be delighted though?
Yeah. And if you're finished 4th in Section A, you're still staying in 4th in Section A for next year. You don't go down. So there's no benefit to going down.
No, you'd be better off throwing your last game and going down to be one of the 3 teams to come up next year. But you would.
But that 3rd team in Section B could get to a semi-final without playing a team in Section A, isn't that correct?
Yeah.
That's correct. They can draw a Section B team in a quarter-final.
Yeah.
But one of them is going to be.
Absolutely, yeah.
So there is going to be a team in the semi-final next year
from Section B
that won't play a team in Section A.
Yeah.
Now, for example, I'm all for change. I'm all for changing things up every day. But we had one of the best championships in the country.
We had the model that other counties copied.
Yeah.
And then we changed it.
Right.
But they will hope too that by adding this jeopardy to it, that it brings out the big numbers of. It brings out better games and bigger numbers of supporters.
There was more of jeopardy all year than there was. Like, in fairness, the Downs could go and they could lose the Lomans, they could lose maybe their next game, and then win their last 3 games and know they're going through.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It makes whereas this now, and especially when you be raging from the Downs as well, because there's so many injuries now at the minute that they now have to finish top 3.
Well, you could have a situation like that in the hurling where you have 2 tiers now, and then come the last game or second last game, none of them might matter because it could be all decided by that stage. That's and next minute you've dead rubbers for the last couple of games.
Yeah, which is what they were trying to avoid. I believe in the change of the format.
And is there? I don't know whether anyone heard this. Is Ron O'Toole going to be back to play some part in this championship later on in the year?
It's possible.
He'll be some asset to Lomans if they can get him.
There's a sneaky rumour going around the place. All right.
Now that might be started by Tom Brown.
Break him home from Australia.
I brought him.
But if you go back to Shamrocks, to be fair, that the work that they're doing there, and to be fair to the Shamrocks, Lomans, and the Downs, in terms of it's proof that you put the work in over a 10-year period with your underage teams, and you focus on, you bring it through what actually, because Shamrocks obviously about 4 or 5 years ago started struggling, and they were kind of hanging on between A and B, but now, like you said, they're I think did I read that did 5 of that CBS team starting that league final, they've just.
But that doesn't.
I know it doesn't guarantee success. I know that. Yeah,
it's going to take we were the same, Pat, out in Castown we won maybe we won with 2 or 3 teams, every age group coming up, and they were beating everyone. And like we had sort of 2 tiers of coming through, where Joe Clark's age group and Niall and Angus's, and it didn't just follow through into senior for ages. It just didn't happen. And these young lads, there's major pressure been thrown on these Gossans, saying, "Oh, sure, you're coming up now, and Shamrocks will win the championship." Like it doesn't work like that. You're coming against, you'll be coming up against a seasoned team like the Downs that'll just say, "Hold on a second here now."
Gossip.
And you'll get a right good done for yourself that you weren't expecting, and it's harder on these lads than people think it's going to be.
He's all right now off Collery then. They no chance. Are they going back down then? Tyke Baker, there'll be a lot of pressure on him this year.
Yeah, but I think without Shannon Baker, Collery have no chance getting out of this group. Yeah. Without Shannon. If they had Shannon, there might be a glimmer of hope. But without him, they have no chance getting out of this group.
Do you know offhand what way the form is going? We've a round of football this week. We'll be around the hurling again.
Yes.
And then followed by
two
football
rounds.
Yeah. Then a hurling and then followed by
3 footballs.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll have 3 football rounds coming up fairly quickly. There's
Well, you'll have
you don't have lads back.
2 groups and quarterfinals at last 3 games.
Yeah.
That's tough on hurling group.
Hurling can retire.
Yeah. No, just I'm thinking of lads that are injured or lads struggling to get back.
And I'm not saying, and I presume every senior hurling manager will think the same as me, but hurling's at an extremely low ebb in this county at the minute, and in the country, to be honest, after yesterday's All-Ireland final. It's a serious low ebb. And then we go 2 weeks without a game, which is fine. That's okay, we have to throw the game. But then you go 3 weeks. You play hurling, you don't play again. There's 3 weekends of football. So you have 4 weeks leading into your next hurling match. And then whoever gets to the county final straight
Has another 3 weeks.
To wait.
It's still the same format, the top end and 2 and 3 picks.
So you have another 4 weeks to wait. Because they won't play the semi-final. So there'll be 2 weeks of semi-final and 2 weeks. So whoever tops the group will have a 4-week break, a game and a 4-week break.
And we started 2 weeks before the football, and we'll end up playing behind the county football.
Yeah, I think that's because the Leinster. I think
It's the Leinster, 17th of October is the hurling, and the 10th is the football.
Tough going.
But sure, the Malachy's lads at least will be back down training a good bit. That's the only thing.
That's
let them down to it.
Right.
Anyway, let's predict.
Here.
I think Kinnegad will beat Garrycastle. I think Lomans will get over the Downs this weekend, but without the 2 McCartans, I was full sure they were playing. But without the 2 McCartans, I'm not so sure. The Downs are missing just their 3 marquee players, aren't they? Really, in Luke and Kevin and Jonathan Lynham. And I think Shamrocks will beat Collery.
Damien.
No pressure. Mullingar Shamrocks, I think, will win that first round game against Collery. I think they have things are in their favour here, particularly with Shannon Baker out. I would go for Carlstown Kinnegad as well to build on last year's fine run and to push on and to get a winning start against Garrycastle, although it won't be easy. And the Downs just might have too many injury patches, too many injury concerns to patch over, I think. So this is an opportunity for St. Lomans to get off to a winning start.
Brendan?
I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Mullingar Shamrocks, St. Lomans, and who's the last?
Carlstown Kinnegad.
Carlstown Kinnegad, yeah.
Pat?
Yeah, don't you think this is in favour of Garrycastle? They had a settled hand all year that no county squad players. That's a big help, when you're preparing the whole year. But I still think Kinnegad have to start. Am I right in saying Kinnegad lost the first 3 rounds last year?
They did.
Yeah. There's no room for error this year, obviously, so they're going to have to hit the ground running. So if they do, I think Kinnegad probably will have enough. Mullingar, definitely, the fact that Sennon's away. And I would go back with Lomans this time because the injuries, it's unfortunate. It's not just injuries, but it's key injuries.
Yeah.
Your key men.
Danny?
I'll go for Kinnegad in the first one. I just think they'll have a little bit too much power for them. I'll go for Shamrocks in the Collery game. And then I'm going to sit in the fence, and I think it could be a draw. Well, just with the information that if the McCartans are out, that might level the playing field.
Okay.
The three big injuries for the Downs, but with the McCartans out and the Downs Lomans over the last couple of years, it's only been a point or two, and I'm going to go for a draw on this one.
Okay. Games all on Saturday, no games on Sunday this week because of the All-Ireland football final. Again, kudos to Peter Collins and the boys there with the fixtures. Live on Earview TV Saturday evening, Carson Kinnigan and Gary Castle and the Downs and St. Lomans. Double header in TG Cusick Park. The other game then Mullingar, Shamrocks and Colliery, and then live on Earview TV on Friday evening, Thurles Pass and Killucan, Morton, Tubber, Clare and Tangan. That's all the other two teams in that group. Before we finish up for the night, lads, we talked earlier in the first half about our under-20 hurling manager being relieved of his duties. Our under-20 football manager has also been relieved of his duties. I know Damien Gavins did, I think, maybe a stint of 7 years, something like that, and Kenny McKinley came in, and I think Kenny did 2 years. We've already spoken about the importance of development and the importance of getting players through from minor 18 up into a senior squad. You know, is it a good sign that we're changing our manager very often, or should we be doing that? Have we anyone in mind that we think that are a contender to take over for this job? Because, you know, we haven't had a whole amount of success at minor level recent years or under 20. So what are your thoughts on it?
It seems a very strange move to demote Kenny McKinley and his management team, because like they had been 2 years in it, they had plans in place by all accounts to go ahead for the third year as they understood. I mean, the results weren't bad. He's a very shrewd operator. He's a straight talker. He's hit you as it is. He'll tell you as it is. If you're prepared to work hard, he'll get the best out of you. So I've no idea. Like, I would presume, and it's only my personal presumption, that they're looking at some of the people that has been in the colleges this year with either Mullingar and Maris or the Marist to take it over. I don't know. Most of them people that are involved in that, I'm sure they're top class, but they haven't been involved with clubs at that level, our county at that level, outside colleges. So it's a very strange move.
Anyone else hear any rumours or anything about it? Surprise of the decision, or?
Look, it's a surprising decision, and look, Scats might invite me back on here again, so I might as well just say like it might be that, you know, to be fair, I always thought, I know Alan's sitting beside me, and he wouldn't give me a 20, he'd be too mean anyway, but like the likes of an Alan Mangan needs to be considered for, like, you know, what he's done at Castletown, what he did with the Westmeath Ladies footballers, every team, what he did with Thurles Pass, every team he's went into, he's had success. I know he was involved with Kenny last year, so there might be a bit of bad blood there now with the whole way that's happened, like, you know, but maybe it's the likes of Alan coming in, maybe it's give it to the likes of Gary Dolan and John Kane and give them a chance to, like, you know, and see about, you know, progressing somebody like Alan or somebody like that up, like, you know, because again, wherever he's gone to, he's been a winner, and, you know, he's got, you know, and he's a love for the county, but look at that, like I said, he didn't pay me anything, and he just happened to be sitting beside me, but that was my kind of thought process the last couple of years anyway.
Brandon, did you hear anything?
Didn't hear anything, Ray. I just thought it was a surprise actually when I heard Kenny was parting company. I suppose is the way I describe it. I don't know the details of what the arrangements were, but I think it's important that we have a man at the football, a man that knows the county scene. So it has to be an appointment from within. Now, maybe they're having a look from the senior end of things, from Mark McHugh's team, and having some sort of a crossover there, an overlap with the senior team.
The likes of Emmett or Jimmy.
Something like possibly that. Maybe. So I don't know, but I think it's a really important for both hurling and football for your under 20 manager, because that's your stepping stone for your player. And we talked about it earlier in the podcast about developing and bringing them players through to senior level. Like, we're under 20 for me is not about, okay, you want to be competitive, but it's not about winning Leinster titles or All Irelands. It's about developing a player for senior level, and I think it's a critical and crucial role for the county to have a really good setup at under 20 level.
Yeah. I'm not sure what level of S&C was done with those guys in the last couple of years or at minor level, but like it's too late when a lad makes a senior panel that you start S&Cing him. Like, he needs to be getting a base in, and I'm sure Danny know more about than I do, but that base needs to be got in there from 16 onwards, like, and have 4 or 5 years under your belt by the time you're coming out of 20s. So like that to me is what the hugely critical part of both these appointments are.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Listen, I'm not going to. It'd be like this. I was involved with Kenny in a very minor role, to be honest. I was only there on match days, giving him a dig out in stands, stuff like that. I just know from talking to Kenny, he's unbelievably disappointed and bewildered as to how it was all handled. I would actually suggest that we should bring Kenny in here some night and maybe ask him straight out what was said. I'm not going to say it out here, but he was unbelievably disappointed with the way it was handled. I wouldn't even if I got a phone call, I couldn't consider going in after the way that was handled, and I was involved with Kenny because I'd have more respect for Kenny than that. Yeah. But I would say that the appointment, whoever it is, like obviously Kenny's gone now, and so be it. But the appointment has to be someone that's experienced. Like, has to be someone that has managed at a very high level, a club level minimum, and is going to row in behind the senior squad. You have to be able to link in now with Mark McHugh, and I would say Mark will probably be heavily involved in the next appointment because he has to be able to work with them. There's going to be a number of players that are under 20 that are going to be involved in the senior squad next year, definitely, and they're going to be training with them or whatever, whether they'll be playing or not is another story, but it has to be someone that's going to be experienced and bring. I know Pat was saying about these college lads that were involved, the likes of Dean McNicholas and Owen Jordan and these lads. I would definitely have them in, bring them in and get them, but bring them in underneath someone that has the experience. Now, in fairness, Owen has managed at club level, is fine, but the likes of Dean McNicholas, they come in behind them or whatever. But it has to be an experienced manager. I would have loved to have seen this year Kenny keeping some of his backroom team himself, being in charge, and bring Dean and maybe Owen in with him as well and knit the whole thing that way, because regardless of what anyone says, the results that the Westmeath under-20s last year, and it was all down to Kenny and his coaching staff, was unbelievable. They got out of the group of death to have Louth and Dublin and Wexford. And they had to play Wexford down in Wexford on a Wednesday evening, which is not an easy place to go to. They got out of that group. Then there is no doubt they would have beaten Kildare on that wet evening out in Kinnegad if the weather hadn't caused a leg break for a poor devil from Kildare. But Westmeath went in at half time 2 points down, 2 or 3 points down, with an absolute, you could barely run against the wind, never mind kick a ball against it, with a gale force wind behind them. Now, wind doesn't win anything for you, as we know. We played Tyrone years ago, and it was a draw game at half time with a gale force wind. We thought we were not going to do it, and they absolutely hocked us in the second half and won the All Ireland that year. But it's not going to win anything for you. But I've no doubt in my mind that they would have won that evening, and then there would have been a Leinster final, and there'd be no conversation here. Kenny McKinley has done a really, really good job, and was all set to go back in next year. Just the way it was handled, you can bring. I'd rather you bring Kenny in and maybe ask him that question rather than me say what the phone call was. But the phone call wasn't very nice.
Okay, so we certainly can consider. Lads, just on one of the questions we asked about Junior 1, I got a text message in from someone involved with one of the junior teams, and the answer to your question about the Junior 1 this evening, Moat's second team were the 6th team in Junior 1 for the last few years, and they didn't want to be in that group anymore because they haven't been winning any games any year. So this year the county board decided to draw one of the teams from the other group then to swap with Moat, and that's how it ended up in Mullingar Shamrocks.
I knew it was an open draw, honestly. Yeah, it was just, but it just ended. I didn't know the history why Moat was there. I didn't know whether it was an open draw, and it was highly unlikely that it was. That they just happened to be picked a couple of years ago to go in there. But that's
that's the explanation. That's coming from a Kilbeggan man, none other than one of the pups, David Fennell. So thanks, Dave, for clarifying that for us. I'm involved with Kilbeggan this year, so I'm sure they'll be hoping to win that junior championship, get back up intermediate. Lads, we're going to finish up. Before I do, shout out again to our sponsors. Main sponsors, Sinead Sheds, Kilbeggan, the Dr.ie, the Tire Warrior Garage down at the Pigeons, McManion's CRVT in Blyer Industrial Estate in Athlone, Clark's Bar here for facilitating us, and KC Sports as well. We're looking for subscribers. We hope you're enjoying the show, but subscribe and follow us. We're on Spotify as well as on other platforms. 5 lads, it's late, lads. I'll be getting in trouble with all your wives by the time you're going home at this stage. Pat O'Brien is always hurling. Danny McDermott, good to see you, Danny. Nice to have you back in again. We'll hopefully see you later on here. The best of luck with the bun.
Thank you.
Alan Mangan, as always. Damien Marfin, Westmeath Examiner, and Brendan Shaw, regular hurling man as well. Thanks very much, lads. Tom Brown was our director, and Ger Gamble was on the camera. So thanks to those lads. Tireless work here every week, bringing the pictures on it. So for myself, Ray Gavin, it's Iarmhi Abu.